live already? Hello, everyone.
Well, they probably can't hear you because I'm still playing.
Oh. why I say that we are live now? Is it like when they're so
to let you know to stop saying shit about, jacking off to cat porn and stuff like that. God.
Oh, come on. You know it is tentacle porn. Okay, fair enough. Cats, as in cat girls and anime and something like that. That is a thing as well. Whereas, like, the only cat features on them is like the tail and like the ears. If that,
and the fact that they go like this and dance.
Yeah, instantly, I knew how to like do it because I have seen an anime before.
Lysifia.
Hello, Lysifia. Hello, Joey. Hello, Metro. How you're doing? Welcome to Social Justice Alchemy. I need to get busy and like actually tweeting it out to like all the places as it were. So it's like not gonna be any like things, but like I did have like a couple of things to talk about, so I have like things to talk about. But yeah, so far it is like at the Alchemy bench, it is just me, Summer Geek, and of course John Brockman. So Metro, if you want to like hop on, say so. Don't forget, Joey, you have the link too, and yeah, how is everyone doing?
Good. I had an idea for what we could do today. It's hidden in the name of the episode.
Putting the parties to the test. Ooh,
the political compass test for the parties. To try and put to bed once and for all, definitively, obviously no one would ever dare question it after we do so, by, proving that the Democrats are not left-wing, but are in fact pretty goddamn far to the right.
Yes, I do want to put that to bed too, exactly. They're busy tweeting out the thing and sharing it to all the Discords as we're...
Discord.
But yeah, I'm gonna be like working later today after we're done here. What's happening? Can't I like? I'm distracted because like, wait a minute. I thought I'll be able to like put some links and type something. What? I can't type something. What did I do? What happened? Facebook, stop being shit. No, really, yeah.
Well, I certainly can't help you. I got another 30 days suck, so I am muted. All I did was suggest, jokingly, lighting a homeopath's office on fire. I mean,
fair, because like
technically, yes, that's stochastic terrorism, I guess. If I thought anyone would take me seriously.
Oh, but, wait,
I'm not Ben Shapiro. Okay.
Yeah, I can like share the link, the YouTube link directly from like the YouTube video. So yeah, me, it's just the standard like working a lot. Gonna come in like later on today after the show is done, and to like do some more work because the work is not done. And then I think I sometimes get this pain in like my right knee, as it were, like near the
welcome to your mid-30s.
Yes, I am 37, so it's like I figured that like it's going to be like a thing. I just gonna have to like get used to it, just so we're
randomly my pinky started hurting. Then this knuckle, just no particular reason.
Oh,
and
hey,
there's Isaiah
connecting with audio. How you doing, Isaiah?
Probably can't hear us yet. Looks like his connection is not particularly stable. It looks like he's connecting with his phone from work.
Yeah, I know the thing. Marty, I clicked and watch, and the first words I hear are cat porn.
Well, yeah, I mean, what were you expecting?
It is. Marty, you know that John Brockman just like say things that's were, and I hope you're feeling well, this word, because like I know you shared that like you had like a surgery not too long ago, and I hope the things are going well. And I'm still busy sharing the links to all the various places as it were. Yeah, because like we're live already, so it's just like, okay, here's a couple of things and we're live. So I was seeing my brain broke. Words it will be limited. I know several people that are like that. As where words are hard,
especially when I'm in the middle of a migraine.
Yeah.
Tends to attack my speech centers. One time, I completely lost all language, not just speech, but reading and writing, and possibly hearing. I don't know.
Yeah, because like It's a common thing amongst like neurodivergent or autistic people that they'll go nonverbal, as it were. But like yeah, I haven't heard of that, but not surprised to know that like some people just go without language.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we heard that.
I heard the noise from Isaiah. Don't have video for Isaiah.
It's fine without video though. Isaiah, how are you doing? Isaiah, can you hear us?
I guess not.
Well, and now, fortunately, migraines and Merkel's Eagles. No, yeah, listen, yeah, very true. Very sore on the meds. Okay, I hope you're feeling well, Marty. Julie still is recovering from like a bit of COVID that like she got. She's fine now, and she promised she'll be back next week. It's work, just like. They have to take self-care as usual, and Mehmet is like falling asleep, so like Mehmet won't be joining us either. And the dog or the cat or something, and that's what we're
Sasha was rummaging around in the corner, so I went ahead and pulled up the blind so that he can sit on the windowsill.
Oh, absolutely, because cats very important. Yes.
So, let's see what else I saw. Yeah, Mithril reading about the U.S.'s treatment of the Philippines pre and post World War II. Yeah, we were imperialist assholes.
Yep, not surprised. It's kind of like we couldn't like have Spain have do their own thing, as it were, and their do.
You can barely see him. Look in between the slats on the bench's arm.
It's again that one thing. It's like, is that a cat? Is that a cat? Okay, Sasha finally moves. So it's like, okay, yes, that is the cat. And we forgot to like thank our patrons like last week. So just going off of like the thing scrolling down at the bottom. Thank you to Flora, Ellie, Joe, the fuck boys, Tim, and Von Rek, and Marty. I think I already said Marty, but just in case. Thank you so much for like giving us money, help pay us a few bills around here, and we can use it to help our conference and needs. Don't forget to like charity links page and down below, as well as like all the other links down below. That yeah, you know the deal. I know it's like it sounds like an end of like podcast stuff of this work, but it's also like the early portions of the podcast for that sort of thing to happen. There, so go Sasha. Don't forget to like rate this on your favorite podcasting app to get more people to like see it. Don't forget to like yes, and the cat's attacking. Yes. Go attack. Yes, yes, Sasha, attack John Brockman, because like John Brockman's an asshole, or kind of an asshole. But like YouTube, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Comment as well. If you can't join us in live, that's totally fine, because just leave comments and it'll be like great, so that like you can join the conversation and afterwards as well. But much appreciated like any views or any like we get, as it were. That's the whole like internet thing. I'm again still busy like sharing this around to like all the places that's doing this sort of thing. So
I'm in kitty cat scritchy heaven, so fuck if I'm gonna say anything.
But yeah, we do have like actually some stuff to like talk about. Oh yeah, that happened. Activision Blizzard got bought up by Microsoft.
Oh, then I guess that will make them a better company that does not do bad things to their employees.
I have been told that like from very I think Bobby Kotick is no longer be part of the company once the deal has been completed. So I think that's a decent thing.
Yeah, that's good, because he didn't do anything to help. But it's not just the one guy.
Yeah, exactly. It was the whole culture that like would visit the like Cosby suite, as it were. But there's also have been like because of those allegations that came forward like last year or over the past year, people were at Activision Blizzard were like thinking of like unionizing or threatening to strike or so or that, and the president of Microsoft, like Phil Spector, is just kind of like, yeah, I don't have any personal experience with like unions and stuff like that, so it's kind of like they're shrugging off like the unions question says, or so it's just like
Trying to figure out what you mean by this word. Is that supposed to be debut?
mm,
But yet Microsoft's CEO shrugs off union disbutts.
Disputes. I meant disputes.
Disputes, okay.
Dyslexic of the world on tide.
Mhm.
Okay, finally sharing.
Yes. Unions are good. They make for better working conditions. The problem is that they then become hierarchical and authoritarian, and they become comfortable, complacent, and move to the right.
There's the Kotaku audio about the deal, and there's the Kotaku audio about like Phil Spencer's like views on unions and stuff like that. But it's the same kind of thing with these like corporate guys, and especially if they never had experience in the union or something like that, it's not a benefit to them, so they're not kind of like express any interest in its work. But it's just like I think I'm gonna a slight update. My caseworker returned my email and told me that it looks like my snap case is closed on her end. Oh geez, that doesn't sound good. She advised me to reapply, so I did, and now wait. Okay, so unfortunately, waiting sucks. It's yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah, especially it's like what most of the times like anyone that like has to deal with these sort of things and can tell you it's just like waiting for things that they're waiting for the things to like be improved or like apply and something like that. You're just leave you on your own in order to like do anything for that sort of thing and can't really like help you in the meantime as we're it just sucks. So the Phoenix is like a GoFundMe should be like down below as well. If not, it's in Charity League's page, but like there is a GoFundMe to help Phoenix as well. Do check out like their Twitter too, because like they'll also have like links to like the faster ways to like give them money as well, like Cash App, Vimeo, and like Coffee as well. Isaiah, are you? Yeah, Kofefe. Isaiah, are you there able to communicate with us or hear us? Isaiah?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, hey, we can hear you. We can't see you, but we can hear you.
I can't stay too long, but I can't see you guys, so.
Okay. Oh, so you're like it's like you're only doing the audio thing for like Zooms or like better connection. So how have you been?
I've been good. Just working on my YouTube channel and
going to outer space.
It's sad to see that look on your faces where I forgot how the song goes. Those wildcat strikers, those wildcats striking over limited availability of like local rodents. Mithril. So I'm reading the chat right now. Allows the workers and leadership unionship to express the workers on behalf of those sheep. Yep, absolutely.
Let's be honest, Lucifia. Strikes are illegal in the U.S.
Yes, exactly. Okay, what's going on? It was like for some reason I could not scroll up on the chat for like a second. I don't know why that's happening. Oh yes, I have heard about like the American involvement in Ukraine because of the Ukraine.
The Russia is there and it's bad.
Yeah,
evil empire versus evil empire. Everyone gets fucked.
Yeah, it's just like U.S. versus Iran, where it's like Iraq is the battleground.
Although, let's be honest, putting the word evil in front of empire is redundant.
Yes, exactly. It's I heard about like those it's just back a second for like the Microsoft the acquisition of Blizzard and Activision. Also, I forgot that let's say happened, but apparently, and we lost Isaiah. Apparently, it happened that like Microsoft also bought like Bethesda. I forgot to research this before we went live. And if that's the case, I wonder what it is the deal there. Because I know, because it did say like in the Activision Blizzard acquisition. Also, there's a company King that's a part of the deal.
Yeah, they acquired ZeniMax Media, parent company
Okay.
behind Doom and it's the parent company of Bethesda.
Yeah, exactly. Doom, Fallout, and like Elder Scrolls is where.
So it looks like they're acquiring enough independent production studios. They'll probably combine it with their Xbox streaming platform to become a competitor to Steam.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the Game Pass sort of thing. Hey, Joe Dorpy, how you doing? Because like, I mean, it's like, I guess, it's like they got to really clean up the company Activision Blizzard before I'd be really comfortable like buying things from them and something like that. Because like, as much as I love Diablo in the past, because of the news that happened, I was not looking forward to like the Diablo 2 remake that they just released or something like that, or like re-res upgrade, as it were. Even though I love that game, but like and nothing else is like that Activision Blizzard has done. It's just like, I hate their monetization and things as well, because like Overwatch was a great game, but that was the first one to do the loot box things, or the first one to popularize it. And Microsoft is also not clean on the monetization thing too, because Sea of Thieves also has like a lot of monetizations and like a loot box too. So it's just like,
we're gonna be dicks all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
Capitalism all up in your face. Hey.
Mm-hmm. Hospital in Wisconsin has like injunctions stopping people from leaving their jobs. Oh fucking hell! It's like, it's bad enough like working in a hospital under like the injunction anyway. Oh no, not an injunction, pandemic as it were. There are many like healthcare workers are being burnt out as it were because of like it's like it's
nonstop.
Yeah,
and it's highly stressful.
And because even the ones like the searches drop as a word, they do eventually as a word. Searches do happen whenever there's a new variant, sadly. Then everyone else has like, okay, I was putting off like doing this sort of thing, this elective surgery, so now I'd be a good chance to do this, like going into surgery, or finally I'm gonna get my knee checked out, finally gonna get this checked out, finally gonna get this, and so they kind of float to the hospitals at once, as it were, once they feel like it's safer to do so because of like the lack of cases. What do we have against loots, David? Like, I shouldn't even pay attention to you. I don't know. Which is like, you
should be in timeout. There it goes.
I shouldn't even pay attention to David. Like, what about loots? I don't know who brought out loots. They're a fine instrument, as it were. I'd like to see someone do a loot solo occasionally. But yeah, like the link that Marty posted, it does seem like that like. Yeah, healthcare workers can't seem that are like forced to like stay in just
horrible conditions.
Yeah, horrible conditions. I know the feeling, like working a lot is just like, yeah, and they have to deal with people too, sick people. That's like sometimes.
Well, I mean, the fact that they're sick doesn't really change anything. People just suck.
Yeah, that's very true.
Unless they're related to you, and even then.
Yes, people suck, even when you're related to them. So we're sad news. So anyway, so let's compare, put the parties to the test, shall we?
Well, first let's you brought up that Tavi had another tweet go viral.
Yes, that was actually quite interesting because like she did not like expected like that tweet to go viral.
You never really do, but remember the meme about wanting games with worse graphics made by devs who are paid more to work less? I would also like my packages delivered slower by union workers who are paid more to work fewer hours with more breaks and safer conditions. Tavi's absolutely right. That would be a much better thing. I don't need to get my stuff by Tuesday if I can get it Thursday without anyone dying.
I would like for her to be here to also discuss it too, because she found there was quite a few of interesting the things that were happening in the discourse like this, like the tweet, because no, I don't want more tweets about that. I don't want like this specific tweet. Come on, don't do this to me, Twitter. Come on, I want to see more of the tweets here. Don't do this to me. Here we go. Okay, click on that tweet, and so I can click back to this tweet, and show she the rest of the responses. Because I remember she mentioned this to me before. Because like sometimes it's kind of like, okay, but like how's it going to work? How is this like going to work as a word? And this words like people pushing back against like the idealizing of like a better future as a word, like once capitalism is get rid. We just need to get rid of capitalism, then everything's be better. I'm like, I think things will be better, but I'm also not realistic in that like it will take a long time for like that to happen as it were. Like people brought up like the medication as it were, and that sort of thing. This goes into like a bigger point of like that I think we have to like understand when it's like, okay, if we love our coffee, but how do we get our coffee? And is there like
I just like coffee as a friend.
But is there equitable way to like get coffee as it were? And if there is, and the workers are working less, getting paid more, and be able to like do it at their pace and relax and not be like stressful on them or be stressful on the environment, let's not forget that, then would we have less production of coffee than we used to, or would it be like not have it, or would it be like more of a burden to like ship it to like all the rest of the world and stuff like that? I think Joey mentioned this too. We like if we truly want to like get rid of capitalism and get rid of the globalization of capitalism and globalization of supply chains as it probably is like detrimental to the environment and not sustainable, then we got to get used to not having avocados year round in certain places, or not having like cherries year round in certain places, or blueberries year round in places.
I don't know. I really like blueberries, so I think your grandchildren can go fuck themselves. I think that's a fair trade.
I was told at my last workplace I need to be like more positive. I replied, okay, I hate this place. Oh, well done. Well done, Mithril. Okay. I don't know why they storm like users do that. It's just bots, I bet. Anyway, so I'm going to like go through like the tweets as it were. Someone did finally actually like make a meme that was like, just look exactly like Sonic saying that, but saying the same things. Because yeah, it goes into this whole thing is where wow, Bluebird's my baby, fine. I mean, if you love blueberries that much, you can go to California, where blueberries in season year round. But then you have to like live in California to deal with like those kind of people there,
and the taxes and the wildfires.
Oh yes,
and the fact there are more Republicans in California than there are in Texas. Yes. California's a big state.
It is a big state, and there's plenty of like rural places and like or just red counties, as it were.
Absolutely correct, Phoenix. I can't forget child labor.
Yeah, so
child labor has to be in unsafe working conditions all over the place, and
yeah, just
everything we've been doing for the last 5,000 years.
Yeah, because like because like like computers as word like coltan is one of the key ingredients in like some of the battery sort of devices on Swear. It's absolutely terrible, like humanitarian environmental like catastrophes are happening and doing the mining of coltan in the Congo as where. So like, would we have less computer graphics cards or less like processing power, so less powerful computers? Maybe we won't have it's kind of like, would we have enough resources on the planet Earth as it is for everyone in the world, all 7 billion people, to be able to have the lifestyle of American that the Americans enjoy right now? I don't think so. I don't think that's sustainable in itself as work.
We don't have that now anyway, so
true. Not every American also lives a lifestyle that depicting as word as the luxuries that Americans have. Oh yes, Andrew Twerpy lives in California too. As like, unfortunately, Washington State is just like I'm sorry, but in Washington State there is like James Alsop as were. Another terrible people, I'm sure. Because again, Washington State has like a Republicans too. They're just on like anywhere outside of like Seattle and the Tacoma area. Pick
It's
Munster.
funny
Yeah.
how living around people not like yourself tends to make you less of a self-centered, bigoted piece of shit.
Mm-hmm.
Weird.
Going to like still try to like go through some like the replies that like Devin has to the tweet and also the quote tweets as well, because like I bet some of them bet most of them are kind of like, oh yeah, they're totally supportive of this, and it just like went wild. Some but yet some people were just like, oh wait, I forgot there was like this dude bro that kind of like said the reply to this whole thing is like, you don't, no, you want excellent graphic cards, you want excellent graphics as it were, and they claim that like, I'm a developer, I know this to be sure as it were, and you look at the like his Twitter, so like that, no, you just developed one indie game, and when you look at the in-game, the graphics are shit, and you're saying you're just like, no, but it turns out later this person was being transphobic as hell. And so Taffy just
I am shocked. Shocked.
Oh, again, like Joey, have you said, the worst kind of like person in the world, a subcategory of humans, is like the mediocre white man that thinks they're so much better than everything and so much knowledgeable than anything else, as it were. Case in point, all of new atheism, but it's just like,
the skeptic man. YouTube.
Mm-hmm. I mean, some is, and now I'm going to go into another point there for like later or another topics where what? Nothing to see here. What? Twitter, what are you doing? Okay, it didn't load.
You trying to do tracking Biden from the left?
No, something else that happened, but we can do like a tracking Biden from the left as well.
I mean, Biden has done a heck of a lot, and this is getting, an event every couple of weeks, but I think they're the really significant ones. We'll see if he includes some of the more important failed attempts that Biden has made, but we'll see. So, day 6, he repeals the ban on transgender Americans serving in the military through executive order. So
that's a good thing, yes.
It gives them job opportunities they wouldn't otherwise have. But
yeah, definitely, we can definitely have that argument about like how it's just like, okay, if you're going to go serve in the American military now, essentially you're already going to just like kill brown babies on the other side of the world for like oil companies.
And it's not like you're getting a heck of a lot of great pay, and going to school afterward isn't going to help as much as you'd hope, but it's a good thing for them. I think we can definitely say that.
Yeah, so it's like one of the few things that like Trump did that it was actually worse and stuff like that. Biden at least did that. So yes, Biden is slightly better than that.
All right, day 30. He issues new ICE guidance that effectively abandons his pledge to stop deportations.
Yep.
I don't think anyone on the left was surprised by that.
Nope, no one on the left was surprised by that. If liberals are disappointed in the Biden for doing that, at least that's something. But it's just like, you're not paying attention. You're not paying attention.
That's just them being naive.
Yeah,
and calling
exactly.
themselves leftists. Let's see. Day 37. Biden drops bombs in Syria.
Not surprised again.
No surprise whatsoever. I don't think he probably didn't even promise to stop that.
No, I don't think it was promised to stop that either. No.
Let's see. Day 58. The Daily Beast reports dozens of young Biden White House staffers have been suspended or asked to resign or placed in a remote work program due to past marijuana use. Typical, we're progressives. We're the voice of the people. We are not going to support a program that 75 to 90% of Americans support. The decriminalization of marijuana.
Yeah, that's the easiest win, because even most Republicans don't care about that. But I think the Robert Adams said, I think is kind of like correct on analysis that like the reason why Biden is not going to do that is because cops don't like that, as it were. And Biden is pretty much is pro cop, as it were.
Oh yeah, they all are.
Yeah, they all are. Cory Booker is saying like proudly, see the Democrat here with the Senate vote right now that was passed in like 99-1 or something like that proves that the Democrats are not a anti-cop party. We're a pro-cop party. Benjamin Dixon listened to the audio that of Cory Booker saying that, and Benjamin Dixon did have kind words for Cory Booker, so we're almost said race traitor too, because that's something that Benjamin Dixon show brings up quite a bit.
Hold on. Phoenix, you're absolutely right. Military recruiters target heavily in poor communities, and they are very aggressive about it. Aggressive and dishonest, and they're essentially child sexual predators without the sex.
Yes, on camera, a Marine Corps recruiter is like said to like someone, it's like, "Oh, do you know the like a regular artist Shaggy? Yeah, he was in the Marine. Yeah." And so it's like it was kind of like insinuating that like, "Oh, if you want to be a music artist, like a hip hop artist, join the Marines." Yes, the Shaggy was in the Marines and was at Desert Storm, but that was immaterial to like him being a reggae artist. And like the one hit wonder Mr. Loba Loba, and then the other a couple one hit wonders like in 2000s. But yeah,
let's see. Day 104, he raised the refugee cap to 62,500 out of the millions of people who need refugee status. Let's see. Day 113 blocks the release of a UN Security Council statement calling for immediate ceasefire in Israel, of course.
We are not surprised about that because like 70% of Congress, 70% of like politicians are like pro-Israel as well.
Day 118 proves the sale of $735 million in precision-guided weapons to Israel. That's unsurprising.
Again, not surprising.
Day 129 proposes a $753 billion Pentagon budget.
An increase on last year's. That's again not surprising, but still
not even a little.
Yeah,
because we are definitely in the middle of a global war that needs that much, and we definitely don't need to spend that on poor people anywhere.
No, poor people.
Day 159 launches airstrikes against Iran-backed militias. Not surprising.
We're kind of like almost numb and used to it right now of our imperialism that's around the world. Fortunately, it's like difficult for us to like, even amongst liberals, garner support to say we gotta like do something about that, as it were. Or so it's like, so 2003 Iraq war protests, as it were, that did not stop the Iraq war at all, as it were. And that was the best we can do in like an anti-war movement, as it were.
Well, we could do more, but I would get a 30-day ban on Facebook.
Oh yeah, that's right. And of course, remember,
no uncoded messages.
Yeah, exactly. So, day 222, CNN reported 9 members of one family were killed in the U.S. drone strike in Kabul, and that was like I think.
Yes, but it was one family. It wasn't a wedding. We're getting better.
Robert Evans has like talked this about it a lot, and I think any military expert like worth the salt can like tell you we cannot guarantee that we're going to drop a bomb on a precise location. We're not going to like destroy this one toilet in this one apartment complex at this one location somewhere.
We drop a bomb, we're going to destroy the thing, the whole area. That's just how it works. Precision my ass.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, when we were occupying Iraq, as were, is like hospitals got affected, water filtration place like got affected, as it were.
And there was no electricity, just over and over everything.
It's I don't know how you can not have non-combatant casualties in like how we do war, as it were. Essentially, it's just like any sins are going to be like at the crosshairs somehow, as it were, and sometimes quite literally, like when like a Blackwater militia group, mercenaries, that's the word I was looking for, shot up upon some people in the square like years ago as well. So anyway, continuing.
Day 230, unemployment benefits ended for 8.9 million. Biden and the Democrats did nothing to stop it.
Yep.
We got a third person in. Who do we have?
The Joey Ling.
Okay, so let's see if I can't change it so that we can read the tweet and still see people. Okay.
How's it going, peeps?
Hey, Yoey.
I still have
7.
that thing on my knee, but like as like John Brockman correctly pointed out, it's like, okay, John,
Welcome to your mid-30s.
Exactly. I have been working a lot, so I kind of played that, walking around quite a
Mm.
bit, kind of like does that. It feels better now that I'm been off my knee for like most of last night than today. I was also up until like 5 a.m. playing golf with your friends last night, but so I'm doing all right. How about you?
I am hanging in there. I got
Mhm.
word that my disability case is moving to a hearing phase, which is my lawyer says that's a good thing. It's usually in the hearing phase that you get your disability because you get to talk to another human. So
Okay, yeah.
And you get to show up and look really sad, pathetic, and scared. And yeah.
Well,
which will be easy because my anxiety is already off the charts.
Just don't get twitchy. They'll think you're on drugs.
Well, I am on drugs. They're just all prescribed.
Well, no, I mean the illegal brown person type drugs.
They'll probably think that you might be on peyote or something like that. Sadly, but at least like
You smoking that curry? That's what Indians smoke, right?
No, okay, that's the actual Indians, and they eat it as it were, and that's why they smell like oat meat and stuff like that. But damn it, curry's delicious. Come on, no, I will stand by Vindaloo and curry.
Well, that's why we went there. We genocided them for the curry.
Yeah,
We understand this. And
Winston
bay leaves.
yes, that we don't even use, or we like eat them, thinking we can't eat them. Damn white people. Okay. Again, Metro, you're gonna have to apologize for Britain.
All right, day 241. The U.S. military admits it killed 10 civilians, including up to 7 children.
And the Cabal airstrike, as where it's like, yes, it's like terrible we were there in the first place or occupied it for like so long. It's just there's no win situation for Biden in any way, but like the airstrikes killing civilians is like, we're not surprised, but still horrible. And it's just like,
it would be so easy to not do that. You just tell them to stop doing the airstrikes.
Yeah, is even in Obama, there's a book called like the Killing Chain, but like there's a couple of different ones. I wanted to like figure out which one is like. It was a book criticizing the Obama administration for like doing the drone strikes. No, they have the resources, they have the intel, they can like do the proper way of like destabilizing those regimes that they want to destabilize. As it were, it's groundwork, it's espionage, it's like paying the people there to like be able to infiltrate those things and like break it apart from the inside. Less violence that way, but takes time, takes money, resources. They know that's effective the way to do it, but they rather not do it. They rather just use drone strikes, military contracts as well, because yes, military industrial complexes were.
Why send in a
that
person
has
for $5 an hour when you can send in a plane for $10,000 an hour and drop a $25,000 bomb? It's just cents.
As you were saying, Joey.
$10.
Oh, it just has the side effect of civilian casualties. And in the long run, they want the civilian casualties because that breeds more terrorists.
True. Yes, it does.
Capitalism will
It
never
just-
solve the problems caused by capitalism.
Exactly.
Yeah, true. And having the terrorists is much easier to sell than like, this is why we need to be over there and be the world's police. America, fuck yeah.
It helps them sell guns here too.
Mm-hmm.
It does quite effectively.
Not that they need much help.
True. Not in this country, at least.
Day 298. Truth Out reports that President Biden is preparing to auction off more than 80 million acres of the Gulf of Mexico to oil and gas drilling companies. Didn't he promise he wouldn't do that?
I'm pretty sure he did.
See, I'm going to do a quick Google search.
Campaign.
I mean, and isn't that like, don't we have like a Paris Climate Accord agreement that we're supposed to be
Yes,
shooting
as
for?
a candidate, Biden promised to end new oil and gas permitting and leasing on public lands.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And this is the Gulf of Mexico.
Oh, no. See, so he didn't break his promise. He said he wouldn't lease public lands. Here, he's just selling the land outright. So yeah, totally honest. He didn't break the promise.
So that's how he got around it. Oh my god. A loophole, or it's like, no, what is it? It's like a spin. It's
Technically, his exact words were that he wouldn't lease.
You said you promised that you never leave. No, I promise I will never die. If you promise that you will never die, I will have sex with you right now. I promise I will never die. But
like anyone has ever had sex with Joe Biden.
If he has children, he must have somehow, as it were.
Well, no, his wife must have.
Okay, there we go. That's a good point. But like the Gulf of Mexico, that wasn't that like the thing that I swear when I was seeing that video of footage that's like that, that's a really well rendered like scene straight out of like dystopian video game. It's real life. That's like a vortex in the ocean on fire. It's because we're drilling in the ocean. It's like, this is 2021. The ocean's on fire, but we're going to continue drilling there because
we don't need the world. Let the motherfucker burn.
Yeah.
All right. 311. Biden bans travel from South Africa and 7 other African nations by non-U.S. citizens due to Omicron.
First of all, 311, you got to become original. You got to become original. All entertainers become original. You got to... It's the name of the band. Anyway, yeah, it's like...
I mean, banning travel would be an effective way to slow the spread of Omicron. But...
a much better way is just like...
Shrink, complete lockdown by everyone. But instead, it's a partial lockdown against the Schmershmer countries, right?
Oh yeah, the Schmershmer countries is where I do agree with Robert Ennis in some assessments as a word though. Like this country is not going to do the full lockdown because even if they attempted actual full lockdown as a word, like you can't go out unless it's absolutely necessary, or something like that. The terrorism works because the AstroTurf protests of like reopen the countries as we're across to like many different state capitals as we're was effective enough at scaring the Democrats to like never do lockdown ever again. So part of the thing is like a societal thing. No, these people do not want to lock down. They want to get their haircuts. They want to go to church. They now Biden's could still
want to kill people. But
True.
There is also a constitutional right to travel.
So that's but
that's just within the U.S.
I
believe the right to travel is intended to guarantee interstate trade. But given the Supreme Court we have now, it would go all the way up really, really quickly, and they would say, nope, can't do any sort of lockdown at all. You cannot do any restrictions because money.
Freedom, horrible,
and something
freedom.
About the Jews.
Yeah, so something about the Jews. So Biden could still do a lot more that he wasn't willing to at all. In a way, like pay people to stay home, like or like proof of vaccination mandates as were.
I forgot the thing where he didn't actually give people the $2,000. He only gave people $1,400.
Yep, only $1,400. And what? And when I was complaining about that on Facebook, so where some of my liberal friends, they are actual friends, but they are liberals, I said like, "Come on, Jonathan, stop like going on and on about the measly sum of like $600. Like, no, $600 not a measly.
$600 is like a month's rent for a lot of people.
Yeah,
exactly. But then he followed up by saying, focus on the things that like are more important, like a $2,000 UBI or like Medicare for all or like student debt forgiveness, like." Biden was never for any of those. He promised $2,000 checks. He promised that. He didn't promise those other things. He promised that and didn't deliver on it. And that's what I can't understand liberals who think like, oh, I knew it was going to be $1,400. What's wrong with you? I would say to those liberals.
The other good Blackwater is Pirates of Blackwater. Is it Blackwater? Darkwater. Never mind. That was Pirates of Darkwater.
Oh, so yes, there is no good Blackwater as we're
except Blackwater Park, according to David Skog.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's a good Blackwater because parks are good. You were saying you mentioned something, Joey?
Oh, I just said it should be $2,000 a month.
I agree, definitely.
Until we can finally agree that the pandemic is over. That is to say, when we don't have 2,000 people a day dying from this shit.
Yeah, like hospitalization.
Just here in the U.S.
Yes, that's just in the U.S. Like we're across 900,000. That's just in this country for the pandemic. I don't know what the like global numbers are, but still. But speaking of the pandemic, day 317, Biden restarts Trump's remain in Mexico policy.
That has nothing to do with the pandemic. It does have
Oh,
everything to do with incredible racism.
okay. I thought that like the
It might have been. They might have tried to put up a straw justification of the pandemic, but really, it's just.
I'm
liberals
thinking.
are
I'm thinking.
racist
Yeah,
too.
I'm thinking of like locking down the border as like part of the pandemic response because like that has been like a Biden's policy as a word like, oh no, a pandemic's happening, we can't like let anyone in, but like that's his racism of like not wanting like and brown people to come into the border. As I heard recently on Democracy Now that like he's trying to like yeah, and like
SCOTUS ordered the policy to be reinstated at some point.
oh, okay. But it's just like I'm not surprised like the terrible immigration policies from like Biden concerning
So
like,
yeah, definitely, absolutely racism because it's a far right wing court. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I would say it's like the court there as we're.
Joe Biden announces a plan. This is day 336 to distribute 500 million free at-home rapid tests to Americans through insurance.
They're through insurance parts. It's like, but then again,
No. They're using the insurance to distribute it because the insurance
yeah.
already has their information on file. But what that means is that if you don't have insurance,
oh yeah. Hopefully there's like more widely available like testing sites to be able to do it as it were, in case you get a notification that like you're near someone who was tested positive. But it's like
We were able to order R4 tests, and nobody has insurance in our house.
okay.
But
so
you had to go through and order them.
Yes.
So I'm wondering if maybe this would have been just automatic. I don't know.
I don't see why they don't just send like to everybody who like just automatically send it to everybody who was on the census.
Yeah, I mean,
the thing is, you would need more than one. I mean, you should be testing like a couple times a week.
Yeah.
And that would be the best way to keep yourself and others safe. Day 337. White House extends the moratorium on student loan payments until May.
It's like
it's not canceling student debt, which he could do,
but he won't. He never promised that. So kicking
down to see if there's like a bunch of things that he has to extend that I'm hoping he does.
Like the eviction moratoriums too, as well.
Yes, like that. And also the Medicaid moratorium. If you are on Medicaid, you still have it until March of this year. Even if you didn't, something happened in your life in the last year where you wouldn't qualify for it. They just automatically made everybody who already had it qualify for it. So like I've got Medicaid right now, and I've had it for a year past when I should have. So I'm like, I've got my fingers crossed that he's going to extend that one too, because it means I can continue to see the doctor until my hearing.
Yeah.
Which is kind of important because
having the doctor's notes is like, this is what's wrong with me. It's like, yeah. But also just
have you tried losing weight though?
Oh. Oh God. Oh, the fat filth in this like society is where day 342. I'm totally not surprised that Biden signs the 768
he proposed
billion.
It.
Oh, he proposed it. No,
and then he signed it.
Yeah. Then he signed it. It's where this is like, I know it's like I know some liberals will just ban on and on about the differences between the Republicans and the Democrats, as it were. I understand that there are differences you can point to. I'm looking at these similarities where it's like most of the Democrats are also as more hawkish as like the Republicans, as it were, and this is they love
the military, they love the police, and they love not helping people,
and they love corporations.
Yes, the corporate taxes and the bailouts as were. Yes, exactly. Or the deregulations of many things as were, and small business like governments were. Even Bill Clinton said like we are small business, small Democrat, small government. Finally found the right word for things as were. However, Democrats.
The Republicans are the party of CEOs. The Democrats are the party of upper management. That's a significant difference.
Day
Day 360, plans for free COVID tests through USPS. That's good. Again, limited to people who have an address.
Yeah.
And 365. The Biden administration announces a plan to distribute hundreds of millions of N95 masks at pharmacies and other sites. So that's good.
Yes.
It definitely, not least because it means they won't be mailing masks to people who will just throw them away.
Oh, yeah, that's the thing. Because yes, definitely. Biden's not calling this virus the Kung flu or like blaming China and like just on everything. So like, yes, Biden's better on the COVID-19 response than Trump. I so wish he was better though, because so many things within his power to do, like how many other states or counties do this? And this is not saying what in my state. It's only in King County, showing proof of vaccination before going to a restaurant or a bar or a movie theater.
I'm in South Carolina.
But I thought it was like, oh, it's a good thing. It's like I think more places are doing it, but it's so rare for people to do that. I think like Chicago is doing that, but it's only like some major places as where King County is the place where Seattle is. So like it's kind of like so few places are doing that, and I'm just like, that would be an easy thing to do. But also for domestic travel, again, not limiting it or like halting it because of that freedom for like interstate trade or something like that, but at least showing proof of vaccination before you get on a flight, that's the word, or proof of a negative test, that's the word. Because like it's left up to the individual businesses or like individual like local governments to do that, but I think that's something that he can institute nationwide that probably would get pushed back by the SCOTUS easily. So he could at least try it though, but like because I have to remember that like if there's like something that like Biden can do with executive order that like it would be improvement on like things, SCOTUS can still challenge those things, or like some Republican governor like Georgia can like, or DeSantis, or the guy from Texas can like challenge those things, and then
Ted Cruz?
The governor
Greg
from
Abbott?
Texas, Greg Abbott, yeah. Illegally procure a mug of tea. Yes, the Metro. You're not drinking tea. You're a British person. How dare you not drink tea?
Well, obviously, Mithril has been watching Ted Lasso and has come to understand that tea is just garbage water. You know how you get tea? It's you take leaves and you steep it in water. You get the same thing out of a ditch. Or the gutters.
Oh, speaking of like the terrible Republican like governors, Isaiah shared this with me, so like I figured it's like to like mention this again. And totally not surprised, but yeah, Ron DeSantis continued being horrible as why Ron DeSantis wants to form a election security police force.
Oh, to make sure that the thing doesn't happen that doesn't happen? Doesn't need to. Do you make sure that it doesn't happen by doing stuff you don't need to do to make sure it doesn't happen?
Right, exactly.
Waste of resources.
No,
Yes.
no,
Oh
it'll
my
be
God.
very effective at stopping brown people from voting. I'm sure of that.
Yes, that's exactly what like Governor Ron DeSantis wants to do, and also positioning himself, jockeying himself for like a 2024 presidential run. That's where, because he looks like the guy that wants to do that with everything he's doing, and going after the Trump base. That's where it's like.
Also, I'm pretty sure that he's the Slender Man.
Yeah. I still haven't seen that movie actually, so
Neither
like,
have I, but
I
Haven't either.
but yet cultural osmosis has taught us like what like this he looks like. Which
oh no, not DeSantis, his predecessor. Who was his predecessor?
Rick Scott, I want to say, or Scott Walker. I don't know. It's one of the two. Joe McClory's not here because like him or Tom McDonald would know because like one of the two that I named, either Rick Scott or Scott Walker. I think it's Scott Walker is the governor.
Yes, it was Rick Scott.
Rick Scott was the former governor of Florida. He was terrible too. So like, just like.
And we show you the pictures, and you can see why I think he's the Slender Man. It'll take about 30 seconds for you to see.
Exactly.
But he's obviously creepy. He obviously feeds on human flesh. He obviously has children stacked in frozen piles in his basement.
Yeah. I still love the meme. No platform, no mercy, no safe space for Nazis. And I see also the
Yeah, he kind of looks like a tall gray.
Yeah, yes. Oh my god! And some of these, oh my god, he almost looks like the dude from Powder in some of these, with the way the light shines on him, as it were. It's like, okay, you look very pale. I'm like,
you can just get the sense that that the head is real, and then there's a tiny body attached to it, and it is driving like arms and legs on sticks. So his actual body is just inside his torso.
He's kind of terrifying, isn't he? Really?
Yeah, it's like
He's kind of creepy looking.
He is like I kind of hate the body shame, but it's like part of me can't help it either, as it were. So, yeah. But it's just like Rick Scott will like denied several like felons from like or former felons.
Several, pretty much all of them, for no reason whatsoever, except for the fact that they were black and he thought they might vote Democrat.
Yeah, exactly. Because like if Florida has a process where it's just like if you were a felon but like have been like a certain time period, 10 years I think, without any other crimes, as where you can ask to reinstate your status and be able to vote again, as where Rick Scott denied everyone that like asked to like reinstate it. It's a whole bureaucratic process. There's only so many like days of the year that you can do it, so it's like within this time period you have to like get your slot in, and then there's so many people trying to do that, and you can, if you don't get it that year, you have to like apply again next year. And it's like, I can understand why some people are just like, why I'm going to bother if I'm just going to be denied, and just like
what they should do is go the Jason Mendoza route.
I'm not familiar.
The Good Place.
Oh, I still haven't watched that show.
Molotov cocktail.
We can do things old-fashioned
I throw
way.
a Molotov cocktail, and then I have a different problem.
We called those freedom potions. But yeah, like Ron DeSantis, like so many terrible things. This is just one of the latest ones of like getting the task force to basically be do voter intimidation, like spending like 5.7 million for this office and task force. And yeah, it's just to like intimidate brown people, black people.
Mm-hmm.
And it's mostly to catch Republicans, because the vast majority of actual fraud that we have caught have been Republicans thinking because there's election fraud, they're going to like vote for dead wives and shit.
Mm-hmm. It's like, it happens so rarely. Like the research is like done on it, and it happens like only like 31 times out of like millions. The actual final cases of voter fraud is like only 31 times out of millions. And
I think that so
the
far,
voter fraud they're
all the
focusing
investigation, like that they've been investigating lately, all the ones that they've gotten so far, there's only like 471.
Mm-hmm. The voter fraud they're focusing on is done by individuals, which almost never happens. And it's usually Republicans. The voter fraud they should be focusing on, which they won't, is the mass voter fraud, which takes place by political machinery.
Yeah.
And is also Republicans.
This Georgia, the illegitimate Georgia Governor Brian Kemp dumping like voter rolls as he is lieutenant governor or like secretary of state, I think, and running for election as like the governor, as were he dumped voters, he removed voters off the rolls, as it were, tens of thousands of them, as it were, and in all.
And hopefully, what's her name, Shelley something, will run again, unseat him, and turn Georgia blue.
Stacey's, I think something.
Abrams.
Stacey Abrams, yes. She is awesome because like even after the defeat in 2008 again by cheatery from Brian Kemp, she's still like the grassroots organization to like in Georgia to help flip Georgia blue, and I like the two like Democratic senators in Georgia, and one in the normal election, one in the special election, and then but then like Georgia then like quickly enact voter
suppression.
Rights. Yeah, eventually voter suppression laws is where even when there's state senators to state Congress people who's black was like demanding to be in the room as they're signing them why they're doing that sort of thing, and she got arrested. So it's like, all because of the wrong skin color and voting for Democrats or being Democrats is where it got arrested or protesting.
However, we know that 3 or 4 Republican voters will never be allowed to vote in Georgia again because they were convicted of the murder of Ahmaud Arbery.
Yep, they were sentenced. And so that's yes, and also as we already mentioned too, Kimberly Potter also like her white woman tears were not able to save her from being like convicted of murdering Dante Wright, which was during the Derek Chauvin trials, as were. So,
that's one thing I think is positive is that lately it feels like there's just the slightest positive movement where, yeah, we still have plenty of cases where cops are not held accountable, but we've also gotten some justice lately. And I think feels kind of good.
Yeah, I think that trend will continue just because cell phones.
Yes. I hope so. I hope that that's really been the big change for us, is that being able to film it. And so,
because when I was growing up, where white media can't control it.
Exactly. And also where you can't deny it, because when I was growing up, I told a story about how this and that happened to me and it was racist. There's a he said, she said, sort of they said component to it where my word is being held against somebody else's word. And if they deny it and they're white, that is enough for nobody to believe me. Nowadays, though, we've got evidence, like actual video evidence, and it is changing things.
Yeah, even some hearts and minds. My coworker was totally saw the video and like knew what Larry Chauvin did, but then he had a friend or a family member. It's like, I think it was an uncle, as it were, and this person is a person of color, not Latinx, but still a person of color. And his uncle was like, I don't know, I don't think like. And to which point finally it's like, have you seen the video? Oh no, I haven't. Okay, let's watch the video. And after watching the video, his uncle could no longer deny that like Derek Chauvin killed George Floyd, as it were. Even my younger brother murdered, yes. As even my younger brother agrees that like what happened to George Floyd is a tragedy, as it were. But he doesn't. He thinks that Black Lives Matter is a racist organization. I haven't asked why, but I
probably because they're black.
Probably because they're a Marxist group. This is the same younger brother that retweeted Project Veritas, so he probably believes some shit like that. And which again is like, listen, Thuglicans, fascists, don't give us leftists a good time. I would love a Black Lives Matter is a Marxist group, but the anarchist group more as it were. That's like,
right? If we were guilty of half of the shit that they accuse us of, we'd be so much cooler.
This was a meme or something like that. I was a Thuggle kid somewhere, I don't know where. Oh, they leftists wanted just like for the USPS to like deliver like weed and gay porn directly to their doorsteps. And below that was like SpongeBob looking through the binoculars, going, "Write that down,
All right. So who's ready to put the political parties to the test?
Absolutely. Let's do this.
All right. We're going to need your help in the chat, because the thing is, it's going to be difficult because I want to try and get what the political parties are doing, not what they say.
Yeah, yes. Yeah, definitely.
And I also want to suss out what they want to do, what they try to do, rather than what they fail to do, which is going to be really hard for the Democrats. Because sometimes it seems like they want to fail.
Yeah, it does.
All right. So, before taking the test, please note that this isn't a survey, and these aren't questions. They're propositions. To question the logic of the individual ones that irritate you is to miss the point. Some propositions are extreme and some are moderate. That's how we can show you whether you lean towards extremism or moderation on the compass. Your responses should not be overthought. Some of them are intentionally vague. Their purpose is to trigger reactions in the mind, measuring feelings and prejudices rather than detailed opinions on policy. Okay, so that's going to make it tough for this one. All right. Page 1 of 6. Just a few propositions to start with concerning, no less, how you see the country and the world. If economic globalization is inevitable, it should primarily serve humanity rather than the interests of transnational corporations. So we're somewhere between strongly disagree and strongly agree. Democratic Party would state that they agree, strongly agree, but I think their actions would show that they somewhere between strongly disagree and disagree.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, 2008, the bankers walked into the White House looking scared. They walked out of the White House looking very, very happy.
Yes.
Obama.
Yeah. I mean, because like there's a lot of criticisms leftists have about the Obama. Just like again, it's like it was so easy at the time for Obama to just give that $700 billion and give it to mortgagers. They would have the money to pay off their mortgages, and that would help those banks that like lend out those monies, as it were, because like those banks would not like default and anything like that because they got the money. But no, Obama just gave the money to the bankers and let the poor people out to rot. And so, yes. Okay, I'm reading the question again is because like is an inevitable. It should primarily serve like community.
I'm going to go ahead and put the link to the thing in the chat.
Okay, yeah. That would be easier for me. And that way the chat can also like have a better look at it too, because like, no, not test, I didn't study. I know that feeling, Jordan Joe P. To be honest, I rarely study for my tests either, as it were. And I took this like the political compass test.
I don't think I've taken this since it first came out 21 years ago.
Groundhog. Hello, Groundhog. How are you doing? Groundhog, we're testing the political parties of the U.S. ones to see if there actually are like where they are.
Do we have a left-wing party here in the U.S.?
I think Groundhog
couldn't even get through it.
It should probably serve the humanities rather than the interests of the transnational corporations. Yeah, again, the Democrats will say they disagree, but
would say that they agree or strongly agree, but I think their actions should disagree.
Yeah, I agree. Their actions is that disagree. They're rather in the interest of transnational corporations than the humanity. NAFTA, the TPP. Hillary Clinton was big proponent of the TPP, and like NAFTA was Bill Clinton, as it were, ever since the third wave, for essentially. Well, I want a political barometer. Okay, can I club you over the head with it?
All right. I'd always support my country, whether it was right or wrong.
The Democrats strongly agree. They're very nationalistic too.
Yes. Democrats would make a show of saying so. They might not necessarily be as patriotic as Republicans, but
well, the thing is, we also have to make it a point. I'm trying to test the parties, not the voters.
Right.
Yeah, so the Democratic voters would almost certainly say strongly disagree.
Oh yes, for sure.
But not the party. No one chooses their country of birth, so it is foolish to be proud of it.
Okay. Do the Democrats agree? Again, the party. Do they agree?
I would say they disagree.
I would say so too.
Okay, yeah. So I want to make sure I'm getting the same answers as everyone else. The first question is disagree, what the Democrats say, and the second answer is agree, right?
Strongly agree is what I
strongly agree. Okay, that's what got it.
You both felt very strongly about that one, so.
and the third question is like disagree. That's what. Fourth question: our race has many superior qualities compared with other races. Okay, the Democrats.
I think the Democratic Party would disagree on that one.
Yes, they would.
They are racist, but I think it's a.
They're more low key about it. They're not they're not in your face about it. They're like that.
I think they're not even aware of it.
Yeah. They're more like the dog whistly kind of racist.
I mean, Biden, perfect example. Even like one of his gaps, like in the last couple of years, is like that.
Black children and American children, something like
that. Poor children are just as smart as white children.
Yes, there it was.
Yep.
It's kind of like he might not actually believe Biden might not actually believe he's a racist. He was just against busing like 19 times in the past, and was like for the or like Clinton as well was want to be like tough on crime, just did not did not see or care that it happened to disproportionately affect like black and brown people, as it were. So it's kind of like
they've bought into Republican lies about their stuff being colorblind.
yes,
Yep.
exactly.
Yep,
And
they're the colorblind kind.
that was also like the strategic decisions that they made in the 90s, is where that like being like not being hard on crime was hurting them politically as we're getting votes, and so they decided to pivot towards being like hard on crime with the Republicans.
They weren't to the left, so they lost votes, so they went further to the right and didn't win any votes.
I mean, remember, Bill Clinton in 1992 did not get the popular vote, the majority of it. No, he get the popular vote, but he didn't get the majority of votes because who was that the third party libertarian? Ross Perot that got like took a lot of the votes in 1992. Yes. Anyway,
but here's the thing: the Democrats would definitely say they strongly disagree with this, even the party.
Yes, agreed.
What about their actions?
Ooh. I don't think they do enough in the opposite direction to prove that like they believe this.
I don't think that they go out of their way to pass the sorts of laws the Republicans do.
Yeah.
Except that they did under Clinton. The crime bill and don't ask, don't tell. I mean, they've been pretty horrifically bigoted.
Yeah, but they would be adamant that that had absolutely nothing to do with race. That was just a coincidence.
I mean, so many people know. I bet even now people still believe it's not like a race issue; it's a class issue. But it's like when in several places, Chicago, Washington D.C., in like Baltimore, when statistically there are very few poor white people, if not non-existent poor white people, but there's a lot of poor black people. It's hard to like separate class from the race issue here in America. As well as like gender is patriarchy is too as well.
Yeah, it's really hard to separate the issue when you look at poor white folk who, by and large, are racist themselves. They are willing to literally do without help for themselves in order to make sure that brown folks get screwed.
Yep. LBJ convince the poorest white person he's better than the poorest black person, and he won't mind if you pick his pocket.
DOMA was passed by the Dems. I don't remember DOMA.
DOMA, the Defense of Marriage Amendment.
Oh.
Yeah, Clinton was a very weak president in a lot of ways. It was passed by a Republican Congress. It was signed by Clinton.
Yeah, okay. So it's like, man.
So, do they act as if white people are better than brown people?
Yes.
Yeah, I do.
So, would you say agree or strongly agree?
I just agree. I don't think strongly agree, but like, I just agree. The Pumpkins definitely strongly agree, though.
Enjoy?
I would say agree.
Okay. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. I think they strongly agree.
Yeah.
They are very, very naive in that way. Always have been.
I mean, it's like how often, if their enemy is like the leftists, they'll like support anyone that's anti-leftist, as it were.
Military action that defies international law is sometimes justified. Strongly agree.
Yep.
There's now a worrying fusion of information and entertainment.
Okay. So it's like, I agree with this, but that's the leftists now understanding manufacturing consent and the society is acceptable and that sort of thing. But do Democrats agree with that as a party?
How would a Democrat understand this?
Yeah.
We're talking propaganda.
But they wouldn't like see it, like they would think of like in 1940, 84 or something like that would happen in North Korea, not here.
But then you also have Fox News.
So it's like, so they could agree with the statement, but only in the case of Fox News in that kind of bubble. But they're not. They wouldn't be as critical of like their media that they
the Marvel Cinematic Universe being propaganda.
Exactly, or like military propaganda too, as well. Yeah.
This is a tough one.
Yeah.
It was liberals who came up with fake news originally. The idea that, there's that propaganda, Fox News kind of stuff going on out there. And then it was co-opted, as always, by the far right.
Yeah.
So I would think that they would agree.
Okay, yeah. They probably would agree. But it's kind of like the conditional part is where it's just like, yeah, I think they would agree.
They find it worrying. They wouldn't find it universal.
Yeah. That's the problem with these statements. So it's like...
I mean, they're deliberately ambiguous.
And not strongly, just regular.
Yeah, just agree.
They would be worried about Fox News, but not CNN.
Mm-hmm.
Or Hollywood in general. All right. That's page 1 of 6. All right. Now the economy. Talking attitudes, not the FDSE. What is the FTSE?
The Federal
Trade Security
Trades
Exchange?
and Stocks. Financial Times Stock Exchange.
Okay.
All right. People are ultimately divided more by class than by nationality. Even as a leftist, I don't know about that. Okay, I think a liberal would not want to put too much into a class analysis.
Oh, yeah, they wouldn't.
Yeah.
So it's,
but they would be aware that poor suffer. They would be aware of child labor overseas and be vaguely... Well, no. The Democratic Party. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Democratic Party...
Democratic Party would say that we're probably more...
divided by nation.
Divided by nation, yeah.
Yeah.
Because they definitely don't want that class analysis. They want you to think of yourself as petty bouge.
Mm-hmm.
So,
well, they'd prefer to think that there's nothing wrong with this system.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
Any failings in the system are just, corruptions by greedy people, not the system working as intended to hurt people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, yeah, I would say that they would agree with this.
Yeah.
Disagree. They would disagree. They would say people are divided more by nationality than by class.
Agree. Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
So they would disagree with this.
Mm-hmm.
Controlling inflation is more important than controlling unemployment.
Ooh.
Ooh.
That's a rough one.
My gut is it's like I think they will agree with that because
because they're both because high inflation hurts people who have money.
Yeah. Okay.
Because it wipes out your cash.
Yeah, their buying power.
But unemployment is also important because if unemployment gets too low, the poor can fight for better wages. If unemployment gets too high, the economy collapses.
Even for like us, like honestly taking this like a test, these would be difficult questions to answer too.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we have to like assess how the Democratic Party, by the kind of like not only by what they say, but more or less by their actions, do they believe that controlling inflation is more important than controlling unemployment?
Now the thing is, controlling inflation happens mostly through the Fed.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say disagree because they never really say too much about inflation, period. Like if you just think about the Dems and what they talk about, like they hardly ever mention inflation.
Yeah.
The Democrats, like when in power, they usually do actually balance the budget. So they do that by raising taxes on like the middle class, as where like Obama did, as it were,
and by cutting funding to poor programs.
Exactly. Yeah.
Keeping the cuts that the Republicans. But
the
thing is, how do they act toward inflation? How do they act toward unemployment?
Mm-hmm.
And
I feel like they harp on unemployment.
Mm-hmm.
Like
everybody talks about creating jobs.
That's all they talk about, it seems like.
And because we have the Fed, it's very easy to deal with inflation in a lot of ways, controlling the monetary system.
Mm-hmm.
So they don't have to worry about that. They don't have to talk about it much. And doing it is more or less automatic, so they don't have to go out of their way. Whereas unemployment stuff, they would have to, fund things and implement programs. They often do talk about creating jobs, but then so do Republicans, building that stupid border fence, things like that.
Mm-hmm. Groundhog said, I say they agree. Their general fiscal policy for the last two presidents have been to reduce inflation first, even if they harp on like unemployment. And the Groundhog, I'm going to like give you the link to the Zoom meeting so you can join in if you want to.
Yes. And like I said, I think that they both agree that inflation is something that has to be controlled, and thus they have the system in place to control it. Unemployment is something that I think they expect the economy to deal with by itself. The invisible hand.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I would think that they would agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, controlling inflation is more important than controlling unemployment.
Yeah, I'm gonna like agree on that. Yeah, that's what the yeah. Okay, next question.
Because corporations cannot be trusted to voluntarily protect the environment, they require regulation. They would definitely say they strongly agree.
Yes.
They would say they would.
Yes,
And
but
then
as we
they
just
would
saw
act
with
entirely
Biden
differently.
opening up more drilling, I would think that their actions say they strongly disagree.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Dapple and so on, yeah, they strongly disagree.
Even in
because Dapple started under Obama.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. Also, like Biden said, or Kamala Harris said in the debates, is where President Joe Biden is not against fracking, and every leftist I knew on Twitter was like, "Isn't
shit?"
Well, that's true. Yeah, not surprised, but like, isn't the world on fire? Bill Nye, is the world on fire? Oh, it is. Okay, shall we do something about that? Well, Joe Biden's not going to do. They agreed to go back on the Paris Climate Accord. I guess it's something. There's also was COP 26, COP out 26, honestly, and John Kerry was there for that too. But so, okay, so.
From each according to his ability to each according to his need is a fundamentally good idea. I think we can agree they would strongly disagree.
Yes, because they're anti-communists.
They are definitely not commies. The freer the market, the freer the people. They would strongly agree.
Hello, Groundhog. How are you doing?
Can you hear us? Can we hear you?
His audio might not be connected, so probably still set up things. That's fine. Just like jump in whenever you have the chance. Okay, the freer market, the free people. They strongly agree with that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
At least their actions would indicate that if they are moral people, then they have to think that. Otherwise, they're just capitalist monsters.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they often preach like personal responsibilities on like it's only the terrible people.
It's always about individuals.
Yeah.
It's a sad reflection on our society that something as basic as drinking water is now a bottled, branded consumer product.
They don't agree with that.
They would disagree with that. Yeah,
I think
they like that it's a consumer product that people can make money off that shit.
They're fine with like Nestle like taking groundwater while next door or not that far away Flint is still trying to fix their water problems.
Land should not be a commodity to be bought and sold. They would
strongly
disagree with that. Joe Biden's just selling it right now.
Okay, I love how like it's kind of like these easy ones where basically it's like just like they had the fascist one in the first page. If you have like this one, like do you strongly agree with communism as a fundamental good idea? And do you strongly agree that land should not be a commodity? Is like then you can actually really prove like who's right wing, left wing on these issues as well. Next question.
It is regrettable that many personal fortunes are made by people who simply manipulate money and contribute nothing to their society. Strongly disagree.
Yes,
like I said, after the 2008 crash, Obama met with the bankers and they walked away happy.
And that's a good point. Like Lucidia, Nestle's being sued for child slavery because that's how they get the chocolate.
They're all always being sued for child slavery. Every couple of years, it shows up. They say, "Oh, I didn't know. I will put a stop to it right away," and then they keep on doing it. We heard something, but not very loud.
And
closer. There you are.
Yay!
Yay! Technology, as it were, always a thing. How are you doing,
Protection.
Groundhog?
I'm doing okay. Just messing around with the. I've never been in Zoom before, so.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Are you from New Zealand?
Yes, I am. I am from New Zealand.
Either you remember me mentioning it or Tavi mentioned it, or you correctly guessed the accent.
It's the accent.
Probably the
There seemed to
accent,
be
yeah.
the word yes.
Okay, I gotta have to remember that as well, because I have some other New Zealand friends as well, Garrett and like Aslan Rowan's too. Yeah.
So, are you here to officially apologize for Ray Comfort?
I don't know who that is.
He's the banana guy.
Oh, you're so lucky to not know who that is.
Now I'm remembering the banana guy. Oh my god!
Yeah, the
in
banana
atheist
guy.
Circles. Oh my
Okay.
goodness.
I'm going to share the audio with you and the video. Let's see.
Oh,
I'll share the audio with you by just doing the sharing. Oops, that's not what I meant to do. Here we go. Share advanced computer audio. Banana Man. No, I don't want a stupid cartoon character. Ray Comfort. There we go. He is a fundamentalist, young Earth I think he's a young Earth creationist. He might be an old
you
Earth
probably
creationist.
be in young.
He is anti-evolution.
I remember this guy now.
All right, here comes the video on
And
screen.
I've since learned that when you really look at the evidence, the truth is it takes more faith to be an atheist than it does to believe in God. You've really got to ignore the facts. It's funny how we equate the word atheism with intellectual, when it's the exact opposite. That's right. Kirk, I have an intellectually stimulating theory. It's my theory of where the soda can may have come from. Billions of years ago, there was a big bang in space. Nobody knows what caused the big bang. It just happened. From this bang issued this huge rock. On top of the rock was found a sweet, brown, bubbly substance. And over millions of years, aluminum crept up the side, formed itself in a can, then a lid, and then a tab. And then millions of years later, red paint, blue paint, white paint fell from the sky and formed itself into the words, 12 fluid ounces. Do not listen. You're saying, what are you doing? You're insulting my intellect. And so I am. Because we know if the can is made, there must be a maker. If it's designed, there must be a designer. To believe the soda can happened by chance is to move into an intellectual free zone. It's to have an echo when you think. It's to have brain liposuction. Hold this, Kurt. Behold the atheist's nightmare. Now, if you study a well-made banana, you'll find on the far side there are 3 ridges.
Well-made
On the close
banana.
side, 2 ridges. If you get your hand ready to
Wait
grip a banana,
till you
you'll
get to
find
the
on the far
accidental gay
side
shit.
there are 3 grooves, on the close side 2 grooves. The banana and the hand are perfectly made one to the other. You'll find the maker of the banana, Almighty God, has made it with a non-slip surface. It has outward indicators of inward contents. Green, too early. Yellow, just right. Black, too late. Now, if you go to the top of the banana, you'll find, as with the soda can makers, they placed a tab at the top. So God has placed a tab at the top. When you pull the tab, the contents don't squirt in your face. You'll find the wrapper, which is biodegradable, has perforations.
Your face.
Notice how gracefully it sits over the human hand. Notice it has a point at the top for ease of entry. It's just the right shape for the human mouth. It's chewy, easy to digest, and it's even curved toward the face to make the whole process so much easier. Seriously, Kirk, the whole of creation testifies to the genius of God's creative hand. It absolutely does. You think of the human eye.
So that's Ray Comfort, the banana man?
You have to remember, this is from 2006.
Yeah. He has since pretended that he was joking when he did that.
Yeah.
The whole thing is curved toward the mouth by ease of entry.
Oh, I have heard of the argument that like this aluminum can is designed by people, as were, so thus we are all created by a creator or something like that.
The best thing about his argument is that the banana was designed by humans. It's not-
I know, right?
It is very, very dissimilar from the wild plantain.
Exactly.
All right, back to the political compass. All right.
I needed
So,
that thing.
remember, we're testing the Democratic Party, not the Democratic voters. And we're judging them by their actions, not by their words. Okay. Protectionism is sometimes necessary in trade.
They strongly agree
Oh,
with that.
I think
I would say they disagree. NAFTA,
Oh, all
Uh,
right.
they like the idea of open borders for trade because that way we can undercut foreign goods with our cheap shit and outsource labor to them. So undercutting
point.
local labor, things like that.
Good point.
So I think it's complex. It's protection for me, not for thee, is the neoliberal way.
Mm-hmm.
So
So, disagree or strongly disagree?
I don't know.
I think just a regular one.
I think it's just a regular disagree. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. The next question: the only social responsibility of a company should be to deliver a profit to its shareholders. How
They would agree.
They would agree. Would they strongly agree?
Yeah.
You know, based on the Democrats' actions, I think they strongly agree because Pelosi is against Democratic senators and Congress people not having trades in companies that they like.
They are firmly in
yeah.
favor of political corruption and so on.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And the thing is, what else should they do? Should they be environmentally conscious? Should they pay their employees fair wages, things like that? And the Democrats, well, they have tried to raise the minimum wage a couple of times.
Yeah. Tried.
Mm-hmm. And if it weren't for Manchin and Sinema, they would have succeeded.
Well, there was there was 58 senators that voted against the $50 minimum wage as well. So we know of Sinema because she did the dance and all the other things that Sinema has done since then. Manchin, of course, we know because he says I'm against this anytime he has the chance to say I'm against whatever. So there were 600 Democratic senators that I don't know the names of, but I bet if it wasn't for Sinema and Manchin taking the spotlight, they would probably be those other the rotating Democratic villain as were.
Mm-hmm. They have those 6 senators came out because they knew they could. The Democrat Party let them off the leash. The others, because they knew they would lose, they were free to vote in favor for it. It was all a bunch of political theater. So I would think that they would agree, possibly strongly agree.
Yeah.
Yep.
So we're gonna go agree or strongly.
I'm gonna go with strongly based on their actions.
I think so too.
The rich are too highly taxed. This one's tough. They're not the ones who lower the taxes on the rich. That's the Republicans. But when they come back in,
But they're
and
also
they raise
rich.
them. Yeah. When they re-raise those taxes, they don't raise them back to the levels they were before. They're always lower than they were before.
Yep.
So I
It's
think
kind of-
they're engaged in, a ratcheting system with the Republicans.
Yeah.
The Republicans lower them, the Democrats unlower them, but not by as much.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that they would agree. I don't know if they would strongly agree.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They don't
I think
strongly.
it's a regular.
Yeah, just a regular agree, not strongly. All right.
Those with the ability to pay should have access to higher standards of medical care. They would agree.
Yeah.
Yep.
Don't know if they would strongly agree. They did try to pass a watered-down, privatized, for-profit version of something that Western Europe did 80 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
that was like a
Obamacare.
signed-
as
that
opposed
was
to
signed.
NHS.
That was signed off by the Heritage Foundation. It's oh no, we approved this.
Mhm.
Well,
So
it was
I'm gonna go
originally Romney Care.
It was
Yeah.
originally Romney Care. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm going to go with agree on that one.
Yeah. Same here.
Governments should penalize businesses that mislead the public. They have done lawsuits, and in
Mhm.
recent years, against dishonest companies. They were the ones behind the lawsuit against the tobacco companies.
Yes.
Yep.
But I see this. I definitely see like the squad being more like penalizing businesses as well, or questioning like Mark Zuckerberg, or like Katie Porter, really grilling like Chase Bank CEO for like the low wages on like the employees.
Yeah, and going
But-
after this tobacco companies was 30 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to remember, I think they've done other things recently where they've gone after, at least under Biden, people. But again, they supported the banks after 2008.
yeah. The oh man, it's just kind of like multiple examples, so it's hard to like have a definitive yes or no on this kind of like binary thing.
I think they like going after individual
Is
companies.
there a neutral?
There's
No.
not a neutral on this test, no.
Dang.
Yeah, exactly.
Because they kind of do it almost case to case.
Yeah, I think they like to go after individual companies that
Mhm.
that do a particularly bad thing, but they won't go after industries where it's standard practice to do bad things.
Yeah.
Right.
It's like they won't go after the banks, but if they have a specific target of, say, I don't know.
Blizzard, Activision.
Yeah.
Mhm.
They
Yeah.
went after them in recent years, but they haven't gone after the video game industry as a whole for the
Mhm.
same problems that are rampant everywhere. They haven't gone after them for crunch and long hours and all sorts of shit.
Mhm.
And not
So-
paying overtime.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's rampant throughout a lot of industries.
So I would think that they would disagree.
Mhm.
Yeah.
A genuine free market requires restrictions on the ability of predator multinationals to create monopolies. Um,
I mean, they would say that they agree.
they would say, yeah, but they
Mhm.
definitely, I mean, they haven't done anything about Facebook.
Yeah.
Or
I mean,
Google.
They will frequently just not do those sort of lawsuits. I'm trying to remember the name of the type of lawsuit.
Rico?
Antitrust.
No, not Rico. Yeah, that's-
Antitrust.
Mhm.
That's it.
Yeah, because Microsoft in the 90s, but again, could be like
Again,
one of the
30 years ago.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, but also it's like one company, but it is a whole on the industry, like on a market, as it were.
They haven't done anything about Apple or Facebook or Google.
Yeah.
They haven't done
Right.
anything to stop them doing anything.
I think that they would say they agree, and in action they disagree.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, again, you could go after Microsoft several times since then, at least. And yet, no.
All right, page 3. Abortion, when a woman's life is not threatened, should always be illegal. They would disagree.
Yeah.
Yes.
I
I think they would make a pretty big stink about disagreeing too.
But then again, their actions. They are defending abortion. They are doing a bad job of it, but I think that's because they're incompetent, not because they're deliberately trying to fail.
Yeah,
Right.
I agree.
So they would disagree. They might even strong disagreement. They would put up strong resistance to Republicans.
Yeah, exactly.
All authorities should be questioned. Disagree.
They
Strongly
disagree. Yeah. I
But they
will
strongly disagree.
I think they strongly disagree that the authority should be questioned because they
Yeah.
don't want their authority to be questioned.
Mhm.
I mean, Bill Clinton was like just randomly was calling the radio stations and like one of the times to like say go out and vote, and he happened to call Pacifica radio station where Democracy Now was broadcasting, and so Amy Goodman had asked Bill Clinton several questions. Oh boy, Bill Clinton did not like getting questions from like threatened that like you're never going to get an interview with Bill Clinton ever again, which is like that Bill Clinton called us.
All right, an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth.
They agree with that.
Yeah, I wouldn't say they strongly agree. They're not as viciously retributive as the Republicans, but they were real happy about Derek Chauvin.
Yep.
Taxpayers should not be expected to prop up any theaters or museums that cannot survive on a commercial basis.
Mm.
I think that they would disagree.
Yeah,
I think they would.
That's like a more of an Ayn Rand kind of position as a word.
Yeah, the Republicans definitely hate things like NPR. The Democrats, they like it. They show that. They support NPR and PBS and so on. They defend them. Not strongly and not particularly well, but they do defend them. They're very much, the rich have the noblesse oblige to, show the peasants good art. So they would agree. Or, sorry, they would disagree that they should not be expected to prop it up.
Mm-hmm.
Schools should not make classroom attendance compulsory.
They
disagree.
Yeah, they disagree. Because even Kamala Harris was one to they send out letters and say, no, we're going to enforce truancy their laws as well.
Yeah, she targeted
because they
parents
want the
over
kids to go
truancy.
through that indoctrination.
Amazing. Okay.
And let's see. All people have their rights, but it is better for all of us that different sorts of people should keep to their own kind. Ooh.
Ooh.
Oh, that's rough.
That I would say that they would say one thing.
They would definitely
but
say they
their
strongly
actions-
disagree. They
Their
definitely don't
actions,
act to
on the other
desegregate.
hand.
They do not act toward desegregation. That's for damn sure.
It's
Yeah.
almost like they figure if we just talk about it and talk a good talk, it'll just magically happen.
Yeah.
Like
We
they
don't
don't
have
want
to
to take
enforce
any
anything. We don't
actions.
have to do anything. People will eventually just stop being racist.
And we'll stop segregating out in various cities in the way they do.
So, but do they act as if it's better for us that we keep to our own kind?
I think so, yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, look at how they live in the suburbs. They like their suburbs.
The Democratic Party definitely segregate themselves. They're rich. They stay away. Again, this is not Democratic voters. It's a Democratic Party.
Yes. Yeah.
And they don't do any actions to desegregate. They haven't fought for busing or anything like that. So, good parents sometimes have to spank their children.
Oh,
I think they would
I
disagree
think
with
they
this
would
one.
disagree. Yeah.
They have acted to oppose, to eliminate, to cancel things like torture clinics. So,
Yeah.
they might even strongly disagree on this one.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think so.
All right.
It is natural for children to keep some secrets from their parents. I would think they strongly
I
agree
think
on that one.
They would.
I
Yeah,
think so.
exactly.
Yeah, I think I think they would actually agree with that.
Honestly, that is one way that the big social, movement is happening is that kids are getting a little bit more rights and
We're
recognition.
recognizing that they're human beings and not tiny talkative pieces of property.
Exactly.
Again, just like some of my siblings refer to their children as the mini humans, because that's what they are.
You're right, Mithril. They do encourage gentrification. They are very proud of that.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Possessing marijuana for personal use should not be a criminal offense. They have started to make moves in this direction, but the party seems weak on this one.
Exactly. Like this is one of those things that Biden could do with the stroke of a pen.
Yeah.
I don't think he could. I think that the classification of marijuana as a class 2 narcotic is something that Congress put in place.
Okay. But then again,
it might be the FDA though. So let's see.
Okay.
Does President have the power to legalize marijuana?
Or decriminalize it, or reduce its legal status.
Federal law, unless a statutory exemption applies, most cannabis and cannabis derivatives are classified as marijuana, a Schedule 1 controlled substance. So it's by law. Biden couldn't do anything about that. It would take an act of Congress. He can definitely change how the Department of Justice criminalizes it. He could definitely just pardon everyone for all their drug offenses.
Yeah.
And so on.
Supposedly, the Republicans are actually talking about coming up with a bill to introduce for legalization.
Because
they're probably talking about that to placate the libertarian portion of the base, but their white nationalist Christian supremacist group, or white supremacist Christian nationalist, are definitely, they hate marijuana because they still see that as a black drug.
Yeah.
It's a devil's lettuce.
Devil's lettuce. Also,
black or Latinx.
Yeah, exactly. Because that's why they chose the word marijuana as opposed to cannabis or weed. Because
and that's why Nixon went after it back in the day, was because he wanted to criminalize hippies and black folks.
Yeah, exactly. It also, the police would probably still want the marijuana to be illegal so that, well, they can do what they do to black and brown people.
So where the Democrats are in complete control, pot has been legalized to a degree. Colorado, California, Pacific Northwest.
Yes.
Where Democrats are embattled, they have done nothing because they're afraid of losing.
Mm-hmm.
So I would classify them as agreeing on this one, that it should not be a criminal offense.
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
They're weak, but they agree.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's you'd also have to poll individual people in the party to have a really good idea on that.
True.
Like, if you were looking solely at Joe Manchin, then
There would be
no.
disagree. Joe Manchin, Kirsten Sinema would probably be agree because she probably smokes a lot of pot.
Mm-hmm. She was a radical, like a protester activist in the day.
I don't know.
And then she got money and turned into a sellout.
I feel like she might have smoked a lot of pot, past tense, but is no longer.
Oh, yeah. Kind of like.
Did they piss test members of Congress?
No. Oh,
I don't think she still smokes pot.
That's a good question. Do they?
Ooh, I bet some of the congressmen.
I'm saying the reason I say that she used to and she's not any longer is because of her political views.
Probably,
I feel like
members of Congress are not drug
a
tested.
lot of pot.
It's just kind of like how Bill Clinton smoked but never inhaled.
Right, which made him.
And then Obama said, "Of course I inhaled. That was the point."
Kamala
They always
Harris
say
also,
past tense.
Yeah, Kamala Harris also said that she smoked pot in college too, as well. But she's also likewise jailing the pot holders as well too.
You guys saw that there was a recent. There's a guy who's actually running for state Congress in. Shit, I can't remember the state it's in. But his whole advertisement is him just sitting there smoking a blunt because his platform is, I'm going to legalize it.
And of course, he claims it's photoshopped because he.
No, he's sitting there smoking a blunt and telling you about how he's smoking a blunt and he fully intends on legalizing it.
Must have recorded it out of state. All right. The prime function of schooling should be to equip the future generation to find jobs.
Oh, they
strongly agree.
Definitely agree.
Strongly.
Even most liberals who kind of agree with that, but not knowing what's the function of the school system is for. That's what actually, or maybe they do, or some of them do, and they're okay with that, as it were.
Ooh, okay. This one is: people with serious inheritable disabilities should not be allowed to reproduce.
Oh.
They are borderline eugenicists.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But have they done anything, even in recent decades, that would indicate that they would be in favor of forcible sterilization or anything like that?
Well, it doesn't.
I mean, California. I mean, the eugenics. The U.S. has a long and strong and proud history of being eugenicist, but I mean, we have largely been eliminating most eugenicist programs.
Groundhog, you were about to say something?
I was going to say, just because you aren't explicitly doing eugenicist programs or eliminating specifically those programs doesn't mean you're not doing the underlying things that are stopping people from being able to reproduce.
Like the fact that they completely fail to actually provide social support for people with disabilities. That effectively makes it impossible for them to have families or children.
That's the one I was going to get to. It's something Lynn talks about all the time.
I mean, something as simple as they don't even like fight for the right for disabled people to get married.
Yeah.
In fact, the programs actively discourage you from getting married.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because you lose your benefits as soon as you have a partner that has money.
Or the asset limits on like your money if you're on SSI. Oh, so it's
Do
like,
I think they're inherently trying to do this as a eugenicist thing? No. But
they are practically speaking doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Intention doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
As my dad always says, action speaks louder than words, and like judging the Democrats as a party by the actions is where.
They don't necessarily hate disabled folks, but they certainly don't give a shit about them.
Exactly. And that's the issue right there. If you don't give a shit about disabled people, they're going to suffer.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I think that
It's
would be the
just that
difference between
simple.
agree and strongly agree, where the
Mhm.
Democrats agree because they don't care. The Republicans strongly agree because they do.
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So I'm going to say agree on that one.
Yeah, agree.
The most important thing for children to learn is to accept discipline. I would say they disagree on that one.
I was going to say that they agree on that, but like, I don't know. Maybe you're right that they will
Because
disagree on that.
like I said, they've been outlawing coercive treatment that
Okay,
doesn't actually
yeah.
do anything. And I think we said that they were opposed mildly to spanking. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So if they disagree on that, then again, yeah, they will disagree on this too.
Yeah.
But it would be
So-
weak.
Yeah.
Because there's a difference between accepting discipline and being spanked.
Yeah.
Oh wait, sorry.
I
There
think-
should be agree on this one. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
All right. There are no savaged and civilized people. There are only different cultures. What they would say, I think, would be quite different from what they would do.
Exactly. Because in practice, they're still imperialists.
Yes, they're
Yeah.
still, but it's the neo-colonial imperialism. So I would think that they would strongly disagree on this one, effectively speaking. They wouldn't call them savage and civilized. They would call them underdeveloped or
Some
Islamic
other euphemism.
terrorists.
Yeah, they'll find a euphemism.
Those who are able to work and refuse the opportunity should not expect society's support. Strongly agree.
Yeah.
Yep.
When you are troubled, it is better not to think about it, but to keep busy with more cheerful things.
Actually, I think that they would agree on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, they
I was just
would.
wondering, is it agree or strongly agree?
I know, right?
Strongly.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the Puritan work ethic through and through.
Yeah.
All right. First generation immigrants can never be fully integrated within their new country.
I think they would
Again-
actually disagree with this.
I think so. I think so too.
No, I
But
think they
just
would
a-
agree. Just because, the bigotry of low expectations sort of thing.
Yeah.
Whereas the Republicans would strongly agree because foreigners are evil. So,
Generally, I'm not from America, as you can probably tell, so I don't know.
yeah, the fact that you
precisely.
admitted that you're from New Zealand.
Yeah.
on that one.
Generally, for those sort of parties, whenever I look at them, it's very much, yeah, they can come over. They're going to be segregated into these work roles that we don't want, but and they're not going to really integrate. But yeah, they can come over and help our
They can
economy,
accept
and that's-
second-class citizenship. Sure.
Yeah, that's usually what I see when it comes to immigration.
And their children are so cute. I would say they would agree that they can never be fully integrated. They're always going to
Yeah.
have some of their own culture
Yeah.
and they just can't outgrow things like
Yeah.
that.
They won't.
Yeah.
The Democrats are not going to make the first part. They're not going to be a party to say like English only or something like that. But like,
They still have the concentration camps. Let's be honest.
yes, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
But the children are with their parents, so it's a nicer concentration camp.
And when you said like, but the children are so cute, I thought of like all of those like charities that say like, if you give this child $1 and like
$1 a day can save this child's life.
Mhm.
In the arms.
No, that's for dogs. We actually do care about dogs.
Yes. Yes. And that Sarah McLachlan song always makes me fall asleep. It's a great song, I agree, Joey, but it also makes me fall asleep.
What's
Okay,
good
so-
for the most successful corporations is always ultimately good for all of us.
Oh, they do agree with that, though.
They wouldn't say it anymore, not after that guy got excoriated during the Dwight D. Eisenhower administration for saying it during a thing. He said, "What's during the question during his confirmation? I think he was going to be commerce. Somebody asked him about his deep ties with General Motors, and he replied, "Well, Senator, I've always thought that what's good for General Motors is good for America, and vice versa." I mean, what he meant was that the policies that are good for General Motors are going to be generally good for America. And what's good for America is generally going to be good for General Motors. I mean, this was Eisenhower. This was before Nixon. This was before Goldwater. This is he was the first Republican president after Strom Thurmond did the Dixiecrat thing. So it was still possible to be a good person and a Republican.
Yes.
And Eisenhower, I mean, he was a military commander. He was commander of the European theater. So I mean, I'm not saying he was a perfect guy, but
he did terrible things like back coups in like Africa. Like he said, like
but every American president has done that.
Oh yeah, true. That's just the position. That's part of the comes to the
that's
role
the
of being
job.
Yeah.
Was it Eisenhower that was around for Indonesia?
Maybe
Indonesia? I don't know. He did Korea.
Yes, Vietnam as well. At the start of it, preventing like elections happening in Vietnam, and then just
No, that was 1965, not 1955. Sorry.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I mean, but for the economic policy regarding Americans, Eisenhower, I mean, remember, he's the one who warned about the military-industrial complex. I think he was far more in favor than most Republicans of FDR's social programs.
Yes.
He was what they call a Rockefeller Republican, not a Gold.
Yeah.
Anyway, so what's good for most successful corporations is always ultimately good for all of us. I would think that Democrats agree and Republicans strongly agree.
Yeah, exactly. All right.
No broadcasting institution, however independent its content, should repeat public funding. I think they strongly disagree.
Yeah, actually.
Again, NPR, PBS.
Yes, exactly, because they're in favor of those institutions as well.
All right, page 4. Our civil liberties are being excessively curbed in the name of counterterrorism. They would say they agree, or strongly agree.
But in actions?
They never seem to curb those.
But in practice,
Guantanamo's open.
exactly.
I think Obama did try to close Guantanamo. He actively, pursued steps to do that, but was convinced that it couldn't work. They've never done anything to roll back our, secret police and wiretaps and things
Or
like
the
that,
Patriot Act, yeah.
Act. So I would say they disagree.
Yeah, exactly. Even like John Kerry says, like John Edward Snowden should like face the trial as it were. Yeah.
All right. A significant advantage of a one-party state is that it avoids all the arguments that delay progress in a democratic. They disagree.
They disagree. Yeah.
I would say they strongly disagree. Liberals,
Yeah.
Democrats, they really honestly believe in our system.
Yes.
despite
Yeah,
the fact
definitely
that it's
strongly.
falling apart because they're fucking jackasses.
Yeah, exactly.
Your system isn't very good either, but
Yeah.
Although the electronic age makes official surveillance easier, only wrongdoers need to be worried. Practically speaking, I think they would agree. Again, they believe in the system. People who aren't doing wrong don't have anything to worry about.
Right. It's just how they label who's a wrongdoer, though.
The death penalty should be an option for the most serious crimes. I think they agree.
I think they do agree.
They
with
haven't
that,
done
yeah.
anything really to push back against the death penalty in decades.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Again,
agree
they're-
with that.
Yeah, they're not as like
I think they've accepted they've lost that fight, and it's only in the bluest of states that the death penalty is really curbed in any way.
yeah, like New York State.
Yeah.
In a civilized society, one must always have people above to be obeyed and people below to be commanded. They agree.
They do agree with that because
They're capitalists through and through.
Yes, exactly. It's like they're not like they definitely hate anti-authoritarianism as well, and like they hate communists is because like they're capitalists. So like, and the whole preface.
They didn't do anything to help BLM. They do not agree with defunding the police. All this stuff. Agree. Do they strongly agree though?
In actions. That's hard. I don't know.
I don't know what the difference between agree and strongly agree would be in this circumstance.
Do they actively seek to increase the stratification, increase the ability of people to command, and require people to obey?
I think it's regular agree, and again, the Republicans are the strongly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they see that stratification of some kind is necessary, but they don't like the way off fascist stratification.
Yeah.
Abstract art that doesn't represent anything shouldn't be considered at all, or shouldn't be considered art at all. I think they would strongly disagree with that one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
In criminal justice, punishment should be more important than rehabilitation. Okay, once again, what they say versus what they do.
Mm-hmm.
They're far more about rehabilitation and restoration in terms of their words. In terms of their deeds, they haven't done anything to change the prison system.
Mm-hmm.
They've participated. They've continued the expansion. We had the super predators under Clinton. I mean,
many Democrat senators and congresspeople get donations from private prison corporations.
Yeah. Did Obama actually close down federal for-profit prisons? I think he said he was doing that. Let's see. Obama closes for-profit prisons.
I think Obama did like they said something that he
U.S. reverses Obama-era move to phase up private prisons. So the prison order was rescinded by the Attorney General after Trump came into office. So Obama did try to close down for-profit prisons.
Okay.
But that's less about punishment and rehabilitation than it is profit.
Yeah.
They haven't done anything to try and fundamentally change the U.S. prison system.
Yeah.
No.
So I think that's a agree, but not strongly agree because the Republicans would strongly agree on that.
Yeah.
They might view the prison system we have as being rehabilitative just because it's unpleasant, therefore you don't want to go back. And they probably would say something about the training programs that you can receive in there, the work experience.
Until you actually try to apply to the job, which is you have to be clever and say, like, what's your previous employment history? I worked for the state of California.
They always have a checkbox on there for have you been convicted of a felony, so that wouldn't work.
Oh yeah, there's that too. Hey Emily, Emily Tremulous, thank you for the mad love to you as well.
So it should do their actions say punishment should be more. That should is tough.
I know.
They definitely haven't changed the focus from punishment, so I would say agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is a waste of time to try to rehabilitate some criminals.
I actually think they would
Super predators.
disagree. Oh. I was about to say they disagree, but then they said super predators, yeah. It's okay. They just drop in to say hi, give Matt's love. So thank you very much.
We are trying to drop some tea. Thank you. I'm assuming
I don't
that's
have
what those
tea.
emojis are.
It's coffee and then the drink.
Dropping tea for truth is how that works.
Yeah, spill the tea.
How do you youngins not know this slang? Come on.
I heard that spilling the tea.
Oh, spilling. Yes. Dang it, I fucked it up. All right. Do the Democrats agree or disagree that it is a waste of time to try to rehabilitate some criminals?
I think
I
that
agree.
they are. I think that they're going to disagree on that.
Yeah.
I think that they think that you can rehabilitate anybody.
Even people with severe personality disorders, what we used to call psychopaths, now antisocial personality disorder.
I
Mm,
I don't agree.
Hmm.
I think they think they shouldn't kill them,
Hmm.
but in general, like you look at the multiple time, consecutively served life sentence type things.
Life sentence without the possibility of parole and things like that.
Yeah, that all that coming in, and they don't
But
really
again,
want
I
to
don't think
change
that's
that.
necessarily that it's a waste of time to try and rehabilitate. I think that's just the emotional schadenfreude from retribution.
True.
But then, in quiet consideration, in the broader sense, they don't necessarily try to change the system in that way.
Mhm.
But do they act as if some criminals are incorrigible and must, for the safety of society, be locked up for the rest of their lives? And I think that their actions say yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go with agree on that one.
Same here.
The business person and the manufacturer are more important than the writer and the artist. I think they would agree on that.
Yeah.
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 They're not going out of their way to help J.K. Rowling's. They're going out of their way to help AOL Time Warner. All right. Mothers may have careers, but their first duty is to be homemakers.
They disagree on this one, I think.
I would go so far as to say they strongly disagree. They want those mothers out there in the workplace so that they could afford daycare.
And of course, also the hire more women guards.
Boss ass bitch. Girl boss.
I'm with her.
Multinational companies are unethically exploiting the plant genetic resources of developing countries.
Are they even concerned themselves with this kind of topic?
You're right, they're not. This is pharmaceutical companies going into the jungle to find flowers that they can turn into drugs. This is...
I thought it was more of a Monsanto
but also crops
situation.
And so on. Monsanto, yeah. But that's genetic engineering of crops that have already been developed. So I'm not sure entirely what they're going with here. But either way, I'm going to say the Democrats strongly disagree.
Yeah.
They're definitely in favor of big companies.
Big companies doing what?
Oh, God. This next question, I think, is going to be simple. Making peace with the establishment is an important aspect of maturity. So I'm going to say strongly agree on that one. Okay.
There's a few of these that we can just go, look at BLM and how they've reacted to it. Any questions?
Is even in calls when they said the defund the police have lost us our positions.
We need to respect our institutions. Don't make me go all corn pop on you. All right. If you get through that okay, you'll find these propositions on religion a breeze. Astrology accurately explains many things. I think the Democratic Party doesn't care about astrology. I think that they disagree on this one.
Exactly.
It's just not even on their radar. You cannot be immoral without being religious. I think far more Democratic politicians are atheists than they are willing to say.
I think so too.
The only openly atheist Democrat in Congress is Kirsten Sinema. I think this is also true of Republican politicians. They call themselves Christian, they emphasize their Christianity, and it's always Christian. With two exceptions. Do they act as if you have to be religious to be moral?
I think no.
I think they would disagree with that. Remember, Obama was the first one to include specifically being a-religious in a statement about this stuff, and I think he included a non-religious member on a panel of some kind.
Yeah, I can definitely see how
I think they're kind of weak sauce on it because
they're definitely weak. But their actions do indicate that they do make the occasional pathetic move. There is the free thought something, whatever it's called in Congress.
Caucus?
Yes. There's a free thought caucus in Congress. Only Democrats are members, obviously. They're all openly religious.
Mm.
But yeah, I think that they would disagree with this one.
All the pre-thought caucus is religious.
I mean, maybe we finally get like a member of the Satanic Temple in there or something like that, or one. There's probably these churches that are secular, which is like, okay, maybe it's the gathering part that they like. Anyway, never been those churches. Anyway,
Charity is better than Social Security as a means of helping the genuinely disadvantaged.
ooh,
Their attempts at defending federal safety programs and state safety social safety net programs are weak, but they are there.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So I would think that they disagree on this one.
Hmm.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I gotta go with disagree.
Oh yeah, the Democrats are definitely weak.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sorry, Mithril. Yes, they are absolutely weak.
Mithril, the new labor. You think you can agree with that too, as well?
The Republicans have no problems. You know, their voters and their money are perfectly happy with one another. The voters don't care who gets rich so long as the right people get hurt. The money doesn't care who gets hurt so long as the right people get rich. They can keep all their promises. Whereas the Democrats, the money doesn't like them helping their base.
Yeah.
So the Democrats cannot keep any promises to anyone, basically.
Yeah.
So they always default to keeping their promises to the money.
Which is why they often talk about policies or procedure and process and bipartisanship.
Mm-hmm.
And that's also why a bunch of voters don't show up to the polls and we have such shitty fucking turnout for Democrats.
And then you have liberal Democrats saying, look, it's just so much easier to destroy things than to build new things.
Yep.
It's like, okay, dude, they had to pass those tax cuts. Why didn't the Democrats... Okay, I'll get my complaints about Andrew Torres to everywhere, but...
Oh, God. All
right. Some people are naturally unlucky. If you mean like a metaphysical force, then this is the religion page, then I would say they would strongly disagree with that.
Yeah.
If you mean they were born disabled or something, then they would agree.
Mm-hmm.
But I think they're still in the very much of, while people can be disabled, they are still, that's not unlucky. That just means they have to put a little bit more effort in it. The way they try and frame it positively instead of like this.
And I was just going to say that the Democrats are notorious for wanting to put the spit shine on even turds. And so they're likely to say and act as if they disagree
this gets
with
to
that.
be an inspiration.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
But I think I was trying to distinguish between the metaphysical luck as some sort of fairy dust, as opposed to the philosopher's conception of moral luck. Is that sometimes shit happens and you have to work around that. But since this is religion page, I think we're supposed to think of it in terms of metaphysical stuff, and I think the Democrats would disagree.
Yeah,
possibly strongly disagree.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna go disagree or strongly.
I think
regular disagree.
Don't roll the dice, geek.
We're just so close. I'm going to go prime or not prime.
Reeves told the Financial Times that it was great news that Labour Party membership was declining, plummeting in fact, since many members were the wrong sort of people. Jews? Is he talking about Jews there?
Rees-Mogg. Oh, God, Rees-Mogg.
No, Reeves, not Rees-Mogg.
Reeves. Okay, someone else.
Oh God, that's awful.
Reeves is a member of the Labour Party, so definitely not Rees-Mogg.
Okay. Oh.
I can see someone in the UK saying that to the Financial Times.
Meaning that Reeves is happy because they're getting rid of leftists.
Membership in my constituency is failing, and that's a good thing. She told the Front Times. The people who left should never have joined the Labor Party. She's
the Labor Chancellor.
Oh, God, Reeves.
All right, you're absolutely right, Pacifica. The moral luck thing, a lot of it is circumstances of birth beyond your control that don't have to be the way they are.
Yeah. No, you were about to say Groundhog?
Groundhog?
Oh, no, I was going to say, I can understand what she's trying to say here. But the way she's saying it is completely wrong.
Yeah.
When it comes to what Mithril was saying, not Lucifer.
Okay.
Right. Final question of this page. It is important that my child's school instills religious values.
This is one they disagree on. Yes, it were because for them is that the separation of church and state is important. That's word,
and they do act weakly to defend separation.
Yeah.
All right. Finally, sex. All right. Sex outside of marriage is usually immoral.
They disagree.
I think they strongly disagree.
Yeah, they strongly disagree.
A same-sex couple in a stable, loving relationship should not be excluded from the possibility of child adoption. Strongly disagree. Pornography depicting consenting adults should be kept legal for the adult population. I'm not sure if that's disagree or strongly disagree. Sex is where the Democrats obviously differ most from the Republicans.
Okay.
Should pornography with consenting adults be legal for the adult population?
They agree that pornography should be legal with consenting adults.
Okay.
Agree, but not strongly.
Yeah, they have a lot of second wave feminists who are iffy on porn.
Yeah,
it goes on in a private bedroom between consenting adults is no business of the state. They strongly agree. No one can feel naturally homosexual. They strongly disagree. These days, openness about sex has gone too far. I think they just disagree on that one.
Yeah, I think they just disagree, not strongly. Want to go back to
some of the older Democrats are still a bit squicky.
Yeah. Just quickly, I want to go make sure I get the right answer for the second question. A same-sex couple in a stable, loving relationship should not be excluded from the possibility of child adoption. The Democrats.
Oh wait, no, that should be agree. You're right. Should not be excluded means to strongly agree. Good.
Okay. Yeah. I was thinking
they should be.
Don't
put the nuts in there.
Well, I think they purposely do that so to make sure that you're all reading the question.
Yeah. All right, now let's see where the Democratic Party stands
based on their actions.
Starting point: 2001, left and right was not enough. We also have authoritarian versus libertarian. In this case, libertarian, meaning our brand of libertarian.
Yes.
So lower left is voluntary regional collectivism. Upper left is state-imposed collectivism. They don't have any labels for the right. Libertarian right is a contradiction in term.
Yes.
Authoritarian right is just liberal democracy to fascism. All right.
Yeah.
North Korea is not. Well, are they? No, they're not leftist.
It's they're authoritarian for sure, but how far left are they? I think capitalism or state control is where.
Yeah, that's why I don't like this thing. So, economic left-right 5.25, definitely on the right. Social libertarian versus authoritarian, they're closer to the line there. So they are over here firmly right-wing. They are not centrist. They are not left. They're definitely not left-wing. The main difference between them and the Republicans is authoritarian versus libertarian.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
So the Republicans would be up here, far in the upper right-hand corner, whereas the libertarian or the Democrats are down here, center right.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and copy that link and put it in the chat so that people can. Oh dear, did my internet go fuzzy for a little bit there?
Maybe a lag on Jordan P's. Oh, yeah.
All right. But this is what we came up with for the Democrats. I have seen various other tests that put them just, let's see, this is the right hand side of the screen. What are you guys seeing?
Mhm.
Can't tell. Okay, so I open that up. Okay, so yep, that's okay, the right hand side. So puts the Republicans basically right here and the Democrats right here. I've seen others that put them further over here, or down here. It all comes down because this is 30 questions. But either way, the Democrats always come out solidly right wing, except for one, I think, that actually managed to make them left wing.
They're also very imprecise questions.
Yeah.
And they're very fuzzy, and they depend on your interpretation of stuff.
Yeah.
Kind of a problem with it's kind of the problem with these kind of questions, and that's where I felt Metro too. I took this test years ago, and I actually streamed to YouTube at the time, and I was further in the bottom left as it were. I forgot to wanting to
I
read.
almost always am way over on the edge, way down in the freaking corner, as far as you could possibly.
Over the years, I have drifted. Let's see, I would have been center right. And I've just kept drifting left and down and down.
Yeah.
So when I first did it, I was, I think, 15 at the time when I first did this. And I got -10, -10, which is the most. And I've never moved since.
Yeah, in high school, I was a Randroid.
Oh.
Yeah, and then, drifted over from libertarianism into Democrats to SOCDEM to DemSoc and over toward anarchism. It's been a journey for the last 25 years.
Yeah.
I've always been anti-government.
More conservative?
Ish. What's that?
Aren't you supposed to get more conservative as you get older?
That was true for the boomers, but only because they got more money as they got older.
Oh yeah, that's right.
But since they destroyed the social safety net and the unions, that no longer holds true.
Hey, Limpy.
At least not here in the U.S.
Hey, Len.
Man.
I became anarchist when I took mine, so it's something like -5, -6, or something like that in that range.
The left result probably because people use that they say rather than what they do. You're probably very right about that, Sophia. Judging the Democrats by their words, they are sock Dems.
Yeah, I bet sock Dems.
Judging by their words, they are where Bernie Sanders. No, judging by their words, they are where Bernie Sanders is. Judging Bernie Sanders by his words and his deeds, that he's not a social. He's not a democratic socialist. He's a social democrat.
Yeah.
This is pretty much
Well, I've often said him and Elizabeth Warren both were as far left as the Democrats could go, while still having me actually support one of the candidates. Because I'm so much farther left. They're so much farther right than I am, both Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders.
Yeah, they're both centrist. Them and the squad.
Yeah.
They're the ones I like best about the Democrats, and they are.
I wish they were as radical as
people.
Freaking people are saying they are.
Oh yeah, if they were, the U.S. would be a very different place.
It is again, Thuglicans, stop threatening us with a good time. Those radical communists of the squad. Yeah, Lucy, I pretty much had a similar path. Liberal but didn't care that much. There was a period of Ron Paul. This was 2008 or something like that, when I was not critical of capitalism whatsoever. So it's just I like what he said basically. But then it's liberals, sock them, communists, and consort. I went from
I have always been far left, but I was more fashy, a little bit more tanky when I was younger about things than I am now.
You cannot be fashy and be far left. Tanky.
I know this. I know this now.
I came up with various ideas that were very much anarcho-syndicalist, anarcho-communist, and then in this was in middle school, and then in high school I studied the Spanish Civil War. And it was oh, there's anarcho-syndicalists here. That's a thing. And I started reading it. I'm an anarcho-syndicalist. I have been for years. So I just haven't moved.
Yeah.
I don't feel the need to.
Mhm. Paige, you wanted to like come on to the show to talk?
Oh yeah, you had a whole other thing you wanted to do.
Just a rant about like something that's like
Ray
something
Comfort,
bothering you.
yeah.
Something I wanted to rant about.
Something you wanted to complain about or talk about or
about science and scientists.
Oh yeah, there was a whole big thing. It's about half a year ago now, but
Oh, okay. If you want to, though.
I can go into it a little bit. Just off the top of my head, I don't have anything in front of me, but so we have standardized testing here, as most countries do to some extent. It's not American standardized testing where you set everyone down and have them take every single test. I think.
Yes.
it's a Harry Potter style practicum where you have to fight boggarts in a swamp.
Oh.
Or
We're
is it a
not
Lord of the
Middle
Rings
Earth.
style thing where you have to fight orcs?
We're not Middle Earth. God damn
it. Really? Because I see a dwarf in armor as I get off the plane in New Zealand.
The thing is, people always think that, but I always think of like, what's his name? The guy who directed it as the aircraft guy, because he literally has a lot of. He's actually funded museums of aircraft here and got them with a workshop to work on them.
That's cool.
It's actually really great. But yeah, we've got standardized testing, but it's sort of a weird thing where you get to pick and choose what you go after, and like you can go into English, but you can also go into history and not have to do English, sort of thing. Or other stuff like that. It's actually quite good. And we've got Maori studies as a thing. So you can learn Maori and the history of people. And that's, I think, generally being rolled out more. It wasn't every school had a Maori teacher, but yeah. They have been they constantly redo the curriculum and all that sort of stuff. And they had come out with what they had listened to a lot of people's concerns with it when it comes to these studies, and wanted to go into things a bit more and introduce it more into other areas of the curriculum, like for instance science. You know, we can talk about how science was used to go after Maori people and indigenous people in general.
Gotta measure those skulls.
Through scientific racism and that sort of stuff, and how it was used to justify colonization and all that sort of stuff, which is a big thing in New Zealand history. Of course, we're coming in and doing all that sort of stuff. And so they came out with that, and they came out with some ideas on how you can integrate it in, that sort of thing, and released it to the public, and this is what we're thinking about. And some academic scientist in a university who is absolutely a white guy, I know it's a white guy, and a few others got together and wrote a letter basically decrying this, saying no, we shouldn't be like this is terrible, because then we'll be fostering people to mistrust science. And we can't have people mistrusting science. Also, while it had been used to justify this in the past, we shouldn't be teaching that, because I can't quite remember. I'd need to bring it up. But it was all of this sort of bullshit that is like, no, don't teach the bad parts of science. It's the justification of colonization and getting rid of people's cultures and that sort of stuff. No, don't like that. We shouldn't teach that, because then we'd be teaching people to mistrust science, and we need people to trust science these days.
Trust science, mistrust scientists.
But
People fuck up. People have wrong beliefs. That's doy.
As I was looking through this, it just got me really angry because it's just not something you say these days. That's not something that is reasonable. Like, at least in New Zealand, in America, probably not.
Yeah.
But like here, no, you shouldn't say that sort of stuff because, yeah, we should be teaching this sort of stuff.
Mhm.
We don't have this we have this history of oppressing the indigenous population.
Yeah, if you don't
We
learn
should-
about things like the Tuskegee study, you won't learn that assholes can do asshole shit even in the name of science.
Of course,
There's
this
no
is gonna
natural
be-
corrective. We have to be vigilant.
you also have to do it specific to your country because the prevailing scientific theories, using quotation marks here because, yeah, when New Zealand was colonized was different to when America was and Australia because we were only colonized in the 1800s, you know. When it comes to white people coming here, my ancestors coming here, that's not actually all that long ago, all things considered. When it comes to, like, I think Australia was way earlier than that. America was 1600s, I'm guessing.
Well, we were the first one discovered in 1492.
14. Okay.
But we didn't actually start getting permanent land settlements until a couple of years after that. So probably 16th century, 1500s.
I like going by 1492 because it's the year that the Papal Bull decree was signed, the Doctrine of Discovery. And it's an
Yeah.
important piece of paper when you're talking about any colonized nation. Like it's the reason that people, the European
It was
people
the
of
excuse
New
people
Zealand
used for
gets
why they were
to-
allowed to do stuff.
and still use because it's still in effect.
But there was when New Zealand was colonized, there was more of a you should integrate the indigenous people in and bring them in as not equals, but you should barter.
Yeah, it
with
was a
them
different
and-
form of genocide.
Yeah, it was a different. It was definitely still genocide, but it was a different form of genocide. So you kind of need to teach that as well because that was a different.
Well, it's New Zealand's form of
Yeah.
CRT. That's the pushback you're getting over there. It's like
Yeah.
they don't want to address the actual history and say the full truth because they're too scared that people are going to then not trust the, you know what? You're not supposed to. You're supposed to question all that authority.
No,
Yeah.
you are supposed to question it, and
Questioning authority sounds kind of gay.
I will say that these people, like these professors, basically then roundly got mocked by the like they got like the university that they practice for were like, yeah, no, this is not what we believe at all, and
We're
just
not
going to
We're not affiliated with these people in any way.
we don't want to touch this. That we don't know. That's just not on, and that generally was what was said. But there was still a lot of racists coming out of the woodwork saying, yeah, no, this is great. No, we shouldn't teach this sort of stuff. There's still a lot of racism here. And you don't need to what's it called? Apologize, Mithril. You're in the UK. You're not in New Zealand.
But
I'm the one who
UK
should be apologizing.
did New Zealand. There would be no New Zealand without the UK. It's his fault.
Actually, one of the things being thrown around, and again, the racists are really like annoyed about this, is people don't want to be called New Zealand anymore. They're like, why don't we just change it to the
Maori
name
land.
that to not Maori land, Aotearoa. Why don't we just change it to that? It'd be nicer, and it's a better name than New Zealand, which has no, like, it's literally a name the Dutch came up with. Because a Dutch person was the first person to find New Zealand in terms
You
of
sure it wasn't a Dane? 'Cause,
European.
Sealand. That's Danish.
No, it was I think Dutch. It was the same person who Abel Tasman is his name. It's the same person who named whose name is that of Tasmania.
Mhm.
Where the name
He's the one
Tasmania
who killed
comes
all
from
the
is Abel
tigers
Tasman.
and devils. Jerk.
He named it something different. It was after some other Dutch person, not Von something, but like they only ended up changing that in like 1900s. But he only found a little bit of New Zealand and then got scared off by the Maori.
Well, they
Which
are
is the
big, scary
greatest thing.
motherfuckers. You got to be honest.
Like this guy found New Zealand. Yeah, no, he got literally scared off by the Maori who attacked his boat because he tried to go onto the land near where one of their food gathering areas was. And it's like, and by food gathering areas, I mean farms and fishing spot and that sort of thing, not. Maori people were amazing at doing this whole thing of building
Living.
like townships and fortresses. There was more, like I've seen people say that there was more castles in New Zealand than there was in the UK at one point. Just absolutely more castles in New Zealand than in the UK.
Well,
It's
to
a
be
bit
fair, I think
ridiculous.
they'd been tearing down castles in the UK for a while at that point because of revolutions.
Yeah. Like we're also talking about over history as well. Like you can, it's a lot harder to find castles in the UK because when they're torn down, the land is repurposed more so than what happened in New
And so are
Zealand
the stones.
originally. Well, we're also not talking about stone. We're also talking about wooden,
wooden forts.
palisades and wooden forts. But they would do a lot of big earthwork movements in New Zealand. And like the thing is, they weren't like
They weren't passive victims.
most indigenous peoples were not savages living in, you know, teepee tent type things in the middle of nowhere, hunting in like with spears naked. That's not how they actually were, especially here in New Zealand. Like that's
It gets
not,
cold there.
that was what the museum, the local museum has as their, you know, exhibit on the Maori people, and they're replacing it. Replacing it for good reason. 'Cause it's completely incorrect.
Yeah. So yeah, Lascivia, like, wait, does that mean that without the UK there would be no US? So it's really UK's fault for US existence, as it were. And and yet
Specifically UAK slave traders.
True, yeah. And then we continued the imperialism of the UK by the US imperialism. We basically went to the UK and said, I learned about watching you.
All this is reminding me of is that I need to look into the genocide going on in West Papua more. 'Cause that's what I thought you were thinking. You know, I was going to rant about or something. I don't know. Or
It's 2 a.m. Do you know where your colonies are?
Yeah, I think Western Sahara was the last colony in Africa, as it were. But then again, like the former
maybe
colonies,
Rhodesia. I don't know.
probably, yeah.
I think I know where Mithra is.
He's in Liverpool. He's a big fan of the football team.
Yeah. Liverpool. It's not Liverpool.
And,
No, it's not Liverpool. He's in Richmond, and he's a fan of Real Madrid.
Yeah.
I'll never stop lying about his football team.
Almost just gonna like leave and just like, well, that's how you're gonna treat me then.
I just think I've heard of that place and that prison.
It's in Manchester.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. They Safeways. That's it.
Safeway? No, that's a grocery store.
Yeah,
Safeways?
well, Safeway is actually a name of like but no, Safeway is like a name of a grocery store chain here in like United States. There, we have them here in like the Washington
Strange
State.
Ways.
Okay,
It's called Strange Ways. That's it.
HM Prison in Manchester. Yep.
Real quick.
It's also what happens when you sit on your hand for a while, and then you look up porn.
I mean, we started the stream with like a cat porn too.
It's only right that we should return to it.
Yes, real quickly. Joey was talking about like a state representative candidate that like smoked blunt and like a 37th like 37-second like campaign ad. The candidate is like a great Gary Chambers in Louisiana, and he does want to campaign on like criminal reform, but also like weed reform as well as like other basic like Green New Deal, Medicare for all, minimum wage, basically like Bernie and AOC. But no,
holy smoke! Because dark times call for bold measures, we are here for social justice advocate and Louisiana Senate candidate Gary Chambers, who knows nothing is scarier to racist yahoos than a big, fierce, dapper, mouthy, truth-telling, weed-smoking black dude. Which is why, in his thunderous first campaign ad, 37 seconds, he sits throne-like in a field ripping a giant blunt while noting grotesque racial disparities and outdated pot laws and arguing for change. I love it. Gotta go ahead and throw this picture up on the thing. You guys in the chat will be able to see it in about 30 seconds.
So, Paige, you were incorrect.
Oh yeah, no, I was incorrect with what prison I was thinking of when it comes to Mithril.
Yeah.
What Mithril was saying.
There it is. Now it's up on the YouTube then for you guys to see. Just sitting there in a fancy leather chair, smoking a giant ass blunt. Okay. Well, it has been quite a while since Pupperdew went out, so I'm going to have to go ahead and give him a walk. He's been getting antsy.
Yep. I'm going to have to go to work eventually. So, Joey Lame Deer, do you have any pluggables to plug or anything like that?
Nope, just that Patreon that I am going to start writing on.
Okay.
And don't forget to give Phoenix a hand.
Yes.
They've been struggling lately. Their thing got turned down. They have to reapply.
Definitely help Phoenix out. Hopefully this will be a good link to like Joey Fire Lame Deer's like a Patreon. If that doesn't work, let me know. Otherwise, just search for Joey Fire Lame Deer and like you can find them content there on Patreon. Groundhog, you have anything to plug, even if it's just like the kindness of humanity?
Nah, I don't feel like plugging anything.
So, you deny the existence of the kindness of humanity. Good to know.
Wait, people, humanity is kind?
So, okay, you stand by that statement. Good to know.
If humanity is kind, then what is
explain
the
New Zealand, huh?
No, we have to explain the Republicans. The Republicans, they're fascists.
Like fascists for
yeah,
me
they,
in the terms of kindness of humanity.
And let's see, in Australia, they have to explain Liberal Party. In New Zealand, white
National
people.
Party.
National Act. In Australia, it's National and Liberal because they're both essentially the same thing. Along with Pauline Hanson. Like, fucking hell, she's fascist. She's
Okay.
right, racist and fascist. And also, they have to explain the concentration camps.
Yep, they were also the Stolen Generation, the Black War for Australia too, as well.
Yep.
So
Is it really difficult for them to explain the concentration camps? I would think that was fairly straightforward.
They still
saying is that they have to not explain the concentration camps.
They have to justify it, but they don't really have a good justification for it other than just racism and basically white supremacy.
Yeah. It's racism.
No problem. And Summer and a Geek on Twitch, on Twitter, on YouTube. I probably will eventually post up more videos on YouTube eventually, like once a week or something like that. Who knows? So check that out. I know they'll do videos. Don't know when I'm gonna be like going on back on Twitch again, but definitely I'm gonna tweet stuff out. So check me out there. Charity links page and links in the description as well. And John Bruckman, you are a part of another podcast, aren't you?
Yes, Dungeons and Debacles. We are. Well, we're currently in the middle of our Christmas episode, but it's been trouble recording because we had snow here the past couple of weeks, and that hurt people's internet and electricity. But we're still recording it, and hopefully it'll be nice and fun. And it'll be released sometime in like March, April, May. Probably June. Let's be honest.
Hey, Christmas in July. Why not? So it's a heck of a lot of fun and totally different from this.
Oh yes. One thing it's edited.
This used to be, but that was a lot of work.
Yeah, when we have a 3-hour conversation, I'm not going to edit that shit.
No, people prefer the natural free-flowing conversation anyway, so do the super edited thing as well.
But what I think I'm going to do is open up a second channel for shorter videos for me to just ramble on about shit, and then just take like a 5-minute excerpt here or there from these things for to put out there. That might be fun.
Kind of like what I was like doing on my YouTube channel before. Yeah. But yeah, anyway, take care, everyone. Practice self-care, mitigate, hydrate,
masturbate if that's your thing.
If that's your thing. Stay safe. Bye, everyone.